This week on Convincing Idiots, you are not going to be disappointed. You have tuned in because we talk about Jimmy Fallon, we talk about the Oscars, and then our main event. My father, Don, is here to be interviewed by these idiots. He has a lot to say. You're not going to be disappointed. Please stay tuned. Oh, and let's start the show.
He's disappointed in you.
I know.
You guys enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test.
Test.
Test. What do you call it again?
Convincing Idiots.
Convincing Idiots.
Called it ham gravy.
I informed them that I sided with the stat man, not just anyone's opinion, the stat man Brian Fisher.
These kids today.
Jingle All the Way is in fact the best Christmas movie of all time.
I need to get Grandma a present, and my herpes is flaring up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo. I'm the millennial
We're
Santa.
three friends representing three different generations. That's our whole shtick. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nick got the whole poop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing in the sea
Caucasian.
breeze, holding a turd, just mightily. I'm just going hitting hats.
Anyway, on a lighter note,
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the vodcast. Welcome to the broadcast. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is Convincing Idiots. My name's Dean, the Xennial.
I'm Brian Gen X.
And I'm a millennial. My name is Nick, and this is a special guest we have. State your name and what generation you belong to, sir. Who are you?
Don Harvey.
Don Harvey.
You're Boomer.
You're a boomer.
You're Boomer.
Boomer
Yeah.
Don.
Boomer
We have a
Don.
special guest, Boomer Don, my lovely father-in-law, Dean's father,
That's my dad.
and Brian's new old guy friend. So we are
They
Convincing
whittle
Idiots.
things together.
If this is your first time joining us, we are a weekly podcast of typically three friends representing three different generations, and we like to discuss all things nerd and pop culture. So, I know you probably already have, because by this point you're a massive fan of ours, and now you're going to be a massive fan of Boomer Don here. But
Thank
feel
you.
free, if you have not done so
Hashtag
already,
Boomer Don.
find us on all of your favorite social media accounts. You can find links to each and every one of them by simply going to Google and typing in Convincing Idiots Linktree, Linktreee, and there you can follow all the links to your heart's content. You can also find links to where you can subscribe to this podcast each and every week and listen to these fine voices you're about to hear this evening. You can also find links to our merch store. We are now on TeePublic, and we have incredible products to offer you there as well.
And if you go to, hold on, real quick, if you go to TeePublic, use our link. Because it not only, even if you don't choose to buy any of our merch, if you use our link and buy anything else, if you buy a fucking shirt with a squirrel on it, we will we'll get some sort of compensation for it. Maybe a hand job. I don't know. Please do it.
There you go. So yes, hand job shirts, squirrel shirts, whatever. You can find it. Follow our link. You can find all of those and so much more on our website. That's convincingidiots.wordpress.com. And so yeah, there we go.
I didn't know he could memorize that much shit all at one time.
Oh yeah, I'm a very bright
It's in the
individual.
prompter.
I'm a very bright individual. After all, I chose your daughter to spend my life with. And
You're not helping
knock
your
up
argument.
twice, so I'm a pretty sharp young fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dean's been doing the show for 3 years. He cannot get the Aaron Blake read down without reading it.
I can't. I
Still right
proved.
here.
No.
Still right
No,
here.
I proved the other day. Remember? You guys hid it from me, and I got it.
The other day.
Well, the other day, whatever. The last time we did it live.
Okay. Anyway. That's Convincing Idiots. That's our spiel. That's where you can find us, and we can all get together and have a good time on the interwebs. So we are here for a brand new episode of Convincing Idiots. We are in person this evening because
Our knees are touching.
we have our
like this.
our beloved friend Boomer Don with us. Don's here. So, Mr. Harvey,
Yes.
it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Usually at this point in the show, we like to discuss what we've been up to in the last week. But you are new to the audience, and we haven't discussed
What have you been doing
what
for
you've
the
been
past
doing last week.
77
What
years?
have you been doing your entire life? Have you seen anything interesting? Have you read anything interesting?
He's not learning anything interesting right now.
Couple things, maybe.
Okay. Okay. So, are there any we typically talk about? We'll give you the roundup. So we'll start from left to right here.
Sure.
Okay.
Brian, how you been? What's new? What's going on in your life?
Doing well, thank you. Last weekend was a nice weekend. Went out with Mike Skinner, who used to do the other podcast with, old friend, him
Yes.
and his wife, lovely wife Marcy. Went to Mike's place in Kent.
Oh yeah, the X-wing out front.
Yes,
Did you
very
get yourself
eclectic.
a Dirk Diggler.
I got
That's one
it
of my
was
favorite
a
sandwiches.
I can't recall the name of it,
sandwich.
but the burger had onion
Guy out
rings.
back that gave me some type of footlong.
That's
He
the
called
Dirt
it a Dirk
Diggler. That's
Diggler.
the Dirt Diggler. Yeah.
I did see that, I think, on the menu, but it's a very eclectic menu. If you're out in the Kent area, go check it out. I mean, there's things all over the place. It's a very unusual, cool place. I had a burger with onion rings, bacon, apple butter, and peanut butter on it. It was a very interesting blend of flavor. It was
Yeah.
good.
That sounds amazing.
I always try to,
Yeah.
every time I go there, I try to get like the weirdest shit that I possibly
Sure, because
can.
you're never going to
Because
find
it's like nobody else has a menu like that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it was good. I would recommend. And then we went to see Keith, one of his new bands, Impulse, play at the Kent Outpost.
Nice.
They opened up for a Van Halen tribute band. So
Very
go check out Impulse Akron and on Facebook, and you can find that band and follow them and find Keith out there playing. So he did great. They sounded really good. They did a lot of cover songs and everything. And then Saturday, Allie and I had a nice dinner at Rose Villa in Portage Lake. So if you're in this area,
fancy on us.
yeah, it's a nice place, man. I mean, really good Italian and seafood and stuff. It's definitely more of an upscale dinner experience, but casual. You know, it's like.
Did you wear a
locals.
tie or are you a bum?
I did not wear a tie, but I did wear a nice sweater and nice shoes, the whole bit.
Okay.
So I definitely stepped it up a little bit for that. So
Yeah, I need to see pictures to decide how I feel about it. Okay.
His opinion, really.
Mhm. That's it. It was a very nice weekend, and getting ready to go to, by the time this airs on Monday, assuming I can still get the editing done on time.
He's leaving on a jet plane.
Yes, I will be in Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, no, you're not serving
I hope
time
not.
yet? Oh, okay.
I hope not. If I'm in,
Maybe by
jail.
the end of the trip.
It's going to be
if
a
I'm
pretty
in
wild
jail, we
weekend,
had
so.
a better time, maybe too good of a time. But I'll be going to Boston, Massachusetts with some good friends and for St. Patrick's weekend. So by the time this is on, I will have celebrated St. Patrick's Day, and maybe you out there too are recuperating. And you know, what better way to do that than listen to all of us, right? So that's it. Yeah,
We are the Recovery Podcast.
that's
Yeah, you definitely want our
Right.
grating voices nursing your hangover. That's probably a good idea.
absolutely.
Well, you never know. There might be somebody out there that, you know, they've been drinking the night before and they know they need to vomit. They know that it'll make them feel better.
It can help.
What better way than to turn us on, hear our stupid voices, and boom.
Somebody almost always vomits when they turn me on.
That's true.
Yeah, if you need extra assistance, zoom in this area here.
I'm nauseous now, actually, a little bit.
That's it. So how are you, Dean? What's up with you?
I'm good. One thing that we did, besides Megan just being constantly all over me, she loves me so much that she can't keep her hands off me.
Sure.
Just. I mean, look at this.
Yeah,
She
you're
loves
spilling
me.
out into everywhere. She can't help but keep her hands on.
No matter where she puts her hands, it
There he
just
is
happens to be
again.
my
I
fucking
just-
fat ass.
Yeah, the Howard the Duck shirt. That's a whole other
You
level.
put this on a gentleman and try not to get touched? Challenge.
Trying to get duck fucked or what?
Is Megan listening to all that?
No, she doesn't listen to this.
She promised she'd listen to the beginning and then she left the room.
So, no, we went to the Natural History Museum out in Cleveland,
Yeah.
and they were doing. The kids love the fucking star thing.
The planetarium.
Planetarium. That's the word.
Planetarium.
There's a boy that
something
learned
like
his
that.
science.
Well, you know,
Star
I'm
thing.
learning. I'm still learning. Maybe I should have been taught better as a youth. She's giving me the eye.
Yeah.
She was up there.
I know.
She
No,
couldn't
we were-
resist the sound of your voice.
We-
She came
they
back.
did the planetarium. They did a special kind of a preview for the eclipse coming up.
Okay.
Kind of taught you what to expect, what's coming up with it, what it's going to look like, and the planetarium's always fun. And then you get to see the all the stuff in the Natural History Museum. You get to see Lucy. She is the first, like the
Lady on television?
no,
Is it
not
comic, or is it-
not
oh,
not
okay.
I Love Lucy. Lucy. She was a I think probably named for that reason.
Like
given
a prehistoric
she was,
woman or
yeah,
something?
a prehistoric woman. And she had no clothes on, so you get to see her like prehistoric titties and stuff. And prehistoric titty meat is the best kind of titty meat there is, Brian.
Were they different?
And bush.
There's
All kinds of bush.
her trail met her forehead. It was incredible, actually. It was something else. But no, she gave me a hard on. Everything was really cool, like the Natural History Museum was, and I learned a lot about Brian's childhood. So,
Ah, nice.
Yep.
That's good.
so that,
Very good.
that's what I did.
That's it.
Nicholas,
Go. Shit. No,
Da-da-da-da-da.
AIDS.
Nah.
I had a great weekend. AIDS free, by the way, at least
that's-
as far as I
that's
know.
plus.
So that's good. No, we had a good weekend. This weekend, I was telling you guys, was the Destination Imagination Regionals tournament for both my kids.
Yeah.
So we went out to Beechwood High School for that. They hosted it this year. And as you might imagine, if you're from the area, Beechwood High School is very, very nice. It looks like a hospital. It's like they've got a merch shop. They've got a
the
bistro
school?
that's separate from the cafeteria.
They
There's
have
like
a merch shop for the
bistro.
school?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's very nice. But anyway, went out there. Proud to report that both of my kids took first place
Awesome.
in their age groups.
Okay, question.
Get to go to states.
Question. Yes, it is.
Very good.
How does it feel to have a child so much smarter than you?
It's nice because
not
I know.
talking to you.
Oh,
Boy, I hope not.
nicely done.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, it was a fantastic weekend. I was very happy for both of them. So congratulations to
Awesome.
Oliver's team, the Hungry Hamsters, and Lane's team,
that's a fun name.
the Spicy Sombreros. So they are
good.
both going to
That's a good name,
states
too.
and Cincinnati in 3 weeks. So we'll be
Nice.
going there. So
Dude, Cincinnati's fun.
oh yeah.
If you didn't have kids and stuff, you'd have.
Oh well, they're going to be competing at DI.
Oh, yeah,
I plan on
You need
doing
to check
other
out some of
things.
the bars there.
Yeah, no, they'll be fine.
You
People
go over
are
the
watching
bridge in
now.
Kentucky, you could still smoke cigarettes in the bar.
Really?
It's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Might have to do that.
Take up smoking just to-
take up smoking.
just for the-
Just
Looks
to
like
say that I
Robin,
can.
just film the kids,
Yeah.
will you?
I saw
trying
the
to smoke a
presentation
cigarette in
last
a
time.
bar.
It's the same. They practice all the time. I see
Yeah,
it.
right.
So, but that was
They
cool.
don't know that I'm out there.
Right.
Right.
They don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. It's fine.
The lights, they can't see.
Yeah. I don't need to be there all the time. Plus, if I'm always there supporting them, how can they have any kind of thing to overcome? You know what I mean? They
That's right.
need to
Right.
have
Need some
some type of
disappointment,
adversity.
Right.
You know what I mean? That builds character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've heard about all the character building you did when they were kids.
I did my best with what I had to work with.
That's right.
I,
You can try to shine up a turd all you want, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, still a turd.
all right. May I? Do we have time for a story real quick? Okay. So I'm going to make this brief. I don't know if I've told this on the air before, but I definitely haven't done it with him sitting here. Back when I was, I think I was a sophomore in high school.
Is this the wrestling thing?
No, this is not the wrestling thing. It's a different story. He wasn't there. There was some sort of selling thing, competition thing, and my mom, whatever I was selling, I just put it on the table.
Grits newspaper?
Grits newspaper, and she knew her friends needed the Grits newspaper, so she took it there and sold everything. Right, so. I won. I didn't know I won, so they came to me and they said, "You get to go meet Omar Vizquel." Omar Vizquel was people that's not aware of, Cleveland sports or fucking baseball history.
Don't look him up in the last 10 years,
Right.
maybe.
He,
But,
yeah.
Don't look him up in the last week
Yeah.
because he's in some trouble.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he got into some questionable accusations.
Yeah,
and
I
didn't
things,
know that.
over the years. Yeah.
They'll probably
Anyways.
keep him out of the Hall of
Well, he
Fame.
was very short. I mean, maybe he was telling people their hair
He's not in the
smelled
Hall of Fame
nice.
already?
No, he's
Is
not.
it what?
He's not in the Hall of Fame already.
Not yet, but this is
Yeah,
not
it's,
going to help
yeah,
his.
well, it's another story.
All right,
but
we'll-
anyways.
we
But back
get
then, he
that.
was a huge
He was a
Cleveland.
huge deal. Cleveland
The Indians
shortstop.
were huge back then.
I had to
yeah.
go meet him. So who else am I going to take? Especially, I needed a ride. So I contact Adam. Contact. He lived in the same goddamn house.
Hey, remember me that lives in your basement?
Right.
Can you take me to?
Which one are you?
Well, you don't smell like the other one, so all right, I'll go. So him and I go to somewhere in Cleveland, some sort of a little theater in Cleveland, And we walk in, and immediately it is me, a sophomore, who has hit my, growth spurt with a bunch of elementary school children and their parents. And I go, nope, not doing that. He's like, nope. We got to do it. We're here. We're going to meet him. Fine. So we go in and we sit down in the chairs. He's up on stage, and I'm like, you don't need to fucking meet him. We're just going to sit here. And I'm just towering over these children. And
hey, buddy, how are you?
No. This guy, the whole time, just needling me. Look at all these kids. Oh, look at all these kids. Yes, thank you. And then they finally call everybody up, row by row, to go up, shake his hand, and get a picture.
And get a ball.
And get a ball. And get a ball. He has the ball.
I have the ball.
He has the ball.
I earned it.
So one by no. Listen. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Listen. So walking up one by one.
Sell it now before he goes to jail for things.
And I'm on the stage, or I'm on the front of the stage waiting. And again, these children up to here to me. And as each kid gets up there and shakes his hand, their parents are screaming, Billy, turn over here. Tommy, turn over here. And then I get up there, and I'm embarrassed as hell, and I hear out of the crowd, loud as anything, him grin, Dean, turn over, Dean, look over here, look, I'm doing one of these deals. And I'm like, oh, God.
Got a dart hanging out of his mouth. Dean, turn around.
Embarrassing.
I knew it was in misery. I just wanted to make it worse.
Oh, yeah, the ultimate fucking needle. Yeah. But I got my ball signed, and...
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine signed. Never mind.
Nice.
No, you got a story. Go ahead with it.
Not that one.
All right.
A lot of this.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, DI, went to Buca de Beppo in Strongsville for dinner with my family afterwards. Nice little weekend, but that's about it. So what have you been up to? What's new with you?
Very little.
Very little.
After you retire, very little.
Now people dream about retiring. What's that really like?
Don't.
Don't do it?
No.
All right.
It's not as great as people make it out to be.
Okay.
Microphone.
See, that microphone keeps finding its way to your dick no matter what. We got to get it. Yeah. Yeah, let me get you. Anyway.
Dean didn't put it on there very well.
Well, he sucks. So, there you go.
You didn't either. It's on the outside.
It's fine.
Hello.
Yeah, put it on the other
be
one.
heard fine.
By the time they get me dressed, the program will be over.
Okay. Anyway, so nothing new with
you
you?
go. Perfect.
Just
Not really.
Just hanging
Everything
out.
going well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a taxi driver for my family. That's nice.
There you go.
That's good.
There you go.
That's good.
Would
Watching MASH.
Yeah, just chilling, watching some MASH.
Mm.
So every time I'm at your house, typically there is either a Western movie or MASH.
Right. Right.
Which is kind of funny because I can't really say anything about it because it's just that's the stuff, that's the era that you watch, because we always talk about all the time how Robin and I just constantly have friends on. Mm-hmm. So essentially that's going to be us. But we're already there. Like we just keep watching the same things over and over again.
That's what we do.
That's I mean,
Brian,
it's nice.
Brian,
Well, comforting.
Brian constantly has the honeymooners on, actually.
Gotcha.
My mom's the same way. She loves MASH. I told these guys I bought her the entire box set
That's what
of
they
MASH.
got me for
but
Christmas.
she never opens it. She just prefers when it's on television, it's just on and it's familiar. You don't have to mess around with anything. It's just there. You know how the episode ends. It's just that familiar thing, probably with friends. It's just comforting.
Right.
No surprise. You know what you're getting.
Right.
That's it,
Yep.
They got that for me a couple Christmases ago, the whole thing.
Okay. Have you played any of them?
Wrapper, huh?
You ever played it? No, it's still in the wrapper.
I think I played a couple of them.
Okay.
It's on TV all the time anyway, right?
So you don't really. But there was a couple of them I missed something out of, or something I wanted to see, and I knew which episode it was in,
Yeah.
and I found it. But Gunsmoke's always been my favorite since I was little.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
That, and obviously these are all fill-ins when the Guardians aren't on, because you
Right.
get Guardians
Right.
games that you spend
Right.
a lot of hours in
And
there.
Gunsmoke back in those days, you had to watch it with a magnifying glass. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Because the TVs that we had in Tennessee were rather small.
Yeah.
Unless Mondays come on, then you have to stop and listen to our podcast.
Well,
Right. Yeah.
Turn everything off.
Sure.
Yep.
Make sure, I think there's duct tape you put on mom's mouth. That way
Yeah,
you can hear us.
lights the candles under
Yep.
your portrait and so forth.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And also, real quick, I know we're doing like a little brief bio and a little synopsis of who you are and stuff, but this is something that I find very, very interesting about you, and I would like to just kind of bring this up right now and act like we don't know this, but you are a big baseball fan.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little baseball career for yourself, right? I would like to hear that again.
Yes,
yeah.
I after I got out of the service, I was playing Red Pepper, which is a minor league, and somebody from one of the scouts seen me,
Did I ruin something?
and
Sorry.
I was invited to the Mets training camp in Florida, and I got to stay a week. Everybody else was staying a lot longer than me. But
Still got to do training camp with the Mets.
Well,
Yeah.
my favorite thing was Tug McGraw. He was a great guy. He really was. And those who don't know, Tim McGraw's dad.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
famous.
He played for
country
the
singer.
Phillies, I remember, for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was with the Mets then,
Okay.
and he was the nicest guy. He really was. Tug was a great guy.
That's
And I got to stay. I could hit the ball, but I certainly couldn't catch it. Well, that was a problem. All those guys that were playing second base where they had anticipation of putting me, those guys were all young guys, college kids. And they were just super fat compared to me. I looked like an old mule trying to grab the ball. But I got to stay a week, and I got my stuff from being there. And it was interesting. It was an experience that a lot of people don't get.
No,
yeah,
sure.
that's awesome.
And especially somebody that was older than most of them there, except for the regular players.
So you're saying you were walking around being the taller, older ones, and all the other children were so much shorter than you. Did you have anybody else yell out your name from the crowd?
No, I didn't have any
Okay.
children then.
No.
It was a simpler time.
It was a
Yeah,
happier
it was
time.
simple, yeah, it was easy. When you start having children, it's fun's over.
Sure, yeah.
Welcome to the fun, sir.
Well, there we go. There you have it.
That's good.
You got 4
Life
now. Go
lessons.
ahead.
So we are
That's good. Oh, that's a prelude. We're going to actually do more interview questions with
right.
Mr. Harvey later on in the episode. That's very good. Very
Maybe
interesting.
ask him stuff like
What he had for breakfast?
No. Like, out of all your kids, why am I the favorite? Stuff like that. You don't have to answer now.
Sure.
We'll get that later.
That I can't say that.
We'll edit it.
Well, edit it in. It's fine. Even though you're not
You
going
are
to
my
say
favorite.
it, I'll make it happen.
Well, when we do some idiot reviews a little bit there, have you watched or... So I'll start. How about that? So I watched 2 movies over the past since we shot last. It's a new movie on Amazon Prime, just dropped recently. John Cena and...
Oh, Kanicki.
Ricky
Ricky
Stanicki.
Stanicki.
That's on mine, too. I was going to review it as well.
Megan and I were just talking about that.
Yeah.
We need to watch that.
Yeah, I won't go... You can elaborate further then. But yeah, it's fun. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Zach
I gotta
Efron.
watch it.
It was just...
William H. Macy.
really?
Jeffrey Ross is in it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay.
It just harkens. It's just a simple comedy with a nice nice ending, just a feel good type thing, funny. John Cena's great. So Amazon Prime, if you have that, definitely check it out.
My favorite, I'll just kind of,
Please,
since
go
we're
ahead.
talking
Yeah,
on the
go ahead.
subject now, what I love about movies like that, or what I'm looking for in comedy movies like that, is the interaction between characters.
Yes.
And it's just so great. Like, Zac Efron is actually quite great at it. I'll watch anything with Zac Efron. Like, he's fantastic. And John Cena, I would actually say if you liked Peacemaker, he's a similar character.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of
So
a bit of a loser, a bit of a,
hold on,
you know what I mean?
but you're saying John Cena's character and Zac Efron's character had chemistry?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, in an interview with John Cena earlier this week, he was talking about that because Zac Efron just came off that movie, The Iron Claw,
Right.
where he played professional wrestler, where he had to like train and stuff. So that he said immediately we got to bond over that. So like we really kind of connected over that aspect.
Yeah. Zac Efron is really good in movies, and especially comedy movies, like his playing off of people.
Yeah, he was
and
definitely a
kind
straight
of-
man.
Yeah,
yeah.
he does it so well. He's really funny. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic movie. It was really cool. It's briefly, without giving anything away, 3 friends from their childhood friends, and the one guy, the redheaded guy, he's a stand-up comic.
Okay.
I've seen his special before, and he's pretty good. I can't remember his name right now, but red hair, red beard. I can't think of his name. But it starts with 3 friends, childhood friends, and every time they get into trouble or get into some shit and they need to blame somebody for it, they blame it on this Ricky Stanicki, this a made-up character. So now in their adult lives, whenever they want to go off on a boys' trip or do this or do that, they have to go do something super noble and honorable with this Ricky Stanicki.
Right.
And then it kind of
social
spirals out of
media
control.
profiles
So
of him
they've
a
thought
bit,
it out.
yeah.
Like they've built this person into an actual thing. And now this guy has to show up in real form, and they run into this guy. It's
An actor.
An actor.
Right.
He is an actor, and then he's a paid actor, and comedy ensues. It gets out of control, and so on and so forth. But very funny movie. Like I really.
I'm going to be
liked it a lot.
watching that this
Yeah,
week.
Ricky
Yeah.
Stanicki was good.
Yeah, it's just, I want to say it's mindless fun, but yeah, like I said, it's an easy watch.
Yeah.
And after watching the Oscars, which we'll talk more about
Yeah.
on the show here, I went back and watched Poor Things. So Emma Stone won for
How was that? Was that good?
Best Actress for this. It's now streaming on Hulu, if you have a Hulu. It's one of the strangest, most interesting movies I ever saw.
That's how people
was-
describe sex with Nick. Strange and interesting.
But it
Yeah,
keeps him interested.
Yes. Sure,
That's the important part.
That's right.
That's why I
Doesn't
never
matter the
left.
strangeness.
That's right.
Is not the issue.
Yeah, the concept is Emma Stone was she committed suicide, and it's sci-fi total. William Dafoe plays like a Dr. Frankenstein type character, like all scarred up and everything. Very interesting, looking character. He resurrects her, basically, and I won't, really. Well, she was pregnant. Okay. I think this is all you can kind of get this out of previews and different things.
Comedy?
It's a dark comedy, sci-fi type, fantasy type thing. So she was pregnant, and he resurrected her. Her brain died, but he put the baby's brain in her head. So at the beginning of the movie,
Fascinating.
you have an adult who's acting like you don't really understand why. Then you learn quickly what's going on. So through the movie, her brain begins to develop.
Learn.
Right? But she's very, she's like a kid. She's is still like a kid's brain in an adult's body. So she's very direct. She doesn't understand social behavior and everything, which kind of makes her interesting to a lot of people as well. Mark Ruffalo is in this. I think he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for he's fantastic as well. And again, William Dafoe is phenomenal anyway. But it wasn't what I was expecting. Very sexual, nudity, dark comedy, shot beautifully. It's just really something to see. So I definitely recommend Poor Things.
You got dongs in there?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and Emma Stone.
William Dafoe done? Or
If you had any, not
Dafoe
William
dong?
Dafoe. No.
Oh, no Defoe dong.
No. But Emma Stone, she just
her dong in it?
She just went with it. No, everything else is though. Everything else is though.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but
You gotta ask.
there you go.
How else would you know?
There you go. So it was sort of an upset for her to win the Best Actress, kind of. We'll talk about that, but
Because
I
of the
could see.
dong?
No,
Oh.
no, but she was great.
Good.
That's it. Those two things. So definitely watch those two movies for sure.
Good.
What dongs have you seen, Dean?
I actually this week I've been
Dongless?
I've been dongless.
Man,
I'm
that's
always
a tough,
dongless.
Haven't even seen my own. Where does it go?
tough week for Dean.
I got a fat stomach at this point. I don't see my own dong. I need a series of mirrors propped up in certain angles to see my dick.
Yep.
It's unfortunate these days. No, honestly, I watched the Oscars. That's about it.
Yes. Oh, I did too. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
Nick?
Well, other than Ricky Stanicki, I watched a movie with Oliver called Orion in the Dark. It is a Netflix original animated film.
Okay.
It kind of has like an Inside Out vibe going. Like it's, it's a kid's. It's about this kid that, he's afraid of the dark, and the dark is an actual manifestation, like an actual thing, takes him on an adventure kind of thing. It's just
The dark is an actual person?
Yeah, like he's dark, and then there's light, and then there's like dark has a job, and that's to make it dark across the world, and then there's like sleep and dreams and things like that have jobs because of him.
Okay.
I don't need to go into much detail about it. All that really, we talked about this the last time I watched. It was, I think, an Apple original animated film, but it just goes to show you the team that like Pixar and Disney and stuff have. Like
how good they are.
The animation was fine. It had its cute moments, but like it very much felt like I was watching a movie for kids that I was just kind of there for. Like I was sitting through. I lost interest in it. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to watch Toy Story or Inside Out or Monsters Inc. or
Brian
something
feels the same way about this podcast.
and lose interest because because it's written, it's storytelling in a way that's interesting and thoughtful and clever, I guess. But this one was not. It was a cool, it reminded me of a kid's movie I would have seen when I was a kid. Like it's there for the kid, and Oliver.
What do you mean last week?
Oliver enjoyed it, and that was cool, but it did not hold my interest. So I think in a time where you're seeing more and more like animated movies and kids movies that are keeping in mind that parents are watching it with their kids, you're seeing a lot better content from these movies, and this was just kind of not one of them. It wasn't terrible. If you're out there, if you're listening or watching and you have kids, your kid might like it, but as an adult, I lost interest in it and did not find it as enthralling as Ricky Stanicki.
So you're saying it was fucking stupid?
It was. Yeah, I didn't like it. It was
All right.
stupid.
That's fair.
What stupid shit have you seen, Mr. Harvey?
What are you
Boomer
watching?
Don.
What are you watching these days?
You guys are one thing.
Well,
Oh,
sure.
you have seen
There
some
you go.
stupid shit then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only plug you're going to get from me tonight.
Well, I appreciate it. It's better than the amount of plugs we usually get.
Hold
so,
up your thumb.
Hey.
Hold up your thumb. This night's not over. All right. So, what TV shows are you watching right now?
Just like
What do you?
Match and Gunsmoke, I love them.
You watch Big Bang Theory, and you
Yeah,
watch
you
what's that
do?
mom show? What's the mom? What the what's
White
her-
Trash Moms. Is that the name
No.
of it?
White Trash? It's got what's her Anna Faris, isn't it?
Two Stupid Moms.
No.
Two broke moms.
I think it's Two Broke Girls.
No.
You know,
Still,
the ones that they do.
Moms with dongs. I watched that this week. That's not on
I
TV
did.
though.
I
You have
actually
to
watched
look
that too.
That may
Separate-
exist.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it does.
It's pretty good.
does it?
It's
It
pretty
does.
good. It's pretty good. I mean,
Okay.
One of
Makes
the,
you don't
sense.
have to go to the dark web. Just
Makes
Google
sense.
that shit.
Makes sense.
one of the TV programs is 9/11. That's become a
Oh, okay.
become a staple, and when they do it in Los Angeles, and then they do Texas.
Texas one was with Rob Lowe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now he's doing a silly
Game show.
game show.
Yeah.
I watch it. I can't understand. Maybe some of the questions I can understand, but the people moving around in the box, it's not one I want to see.
Yeah.
All right.
But the 9/11 is one of our favorite shows, and of course, Sheldon and them.
Yeah. Big Bang Theory.
Well, the young Sheldon.
Oh, young show.
okay,
It's in the
yeah.
last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What it is.
The kid's getting tall. Like, there's only so much time you could have spent doing that before he's the same height
They
as
just
the
keep doing
original
prequels.
actor.
They're like, here's younger Sheldon
Baby
than
Sheldon.
before.
Here's
That's-
come Sheldon.
But that's about what we watch. That's pretty much a lot of the news. CNN.
Yeah.
You watch that because of what's going on.
Do you
in
find
the
that
world.
makes you sad?
Some
Watching
of
a
it,
lot of the
There's no doubt. But
At least it's not Fox.
it's not. Yeah, it's the news is sad or whatever, and you kind of want to keep up on what's happening
Sure.
around the world.
Yeah.
know? That's why I
Don't
watch it.
say sure like you do.
I said you want to, and I
You
like
want
my
to.
heart's in the right place.
You
I
don't,
do want
you don't
to.
actually watch.
But
or
I
keep
also
up.
would like to
respect
know
my
things.
mental health,
Right,
and so I don't.
Sure. Okay.
That'd be one way.
I
to
imagine
go.
I would like to know things.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
sounds
gonna
nice.
do it.
It sounds like a noble cause, one I'm not willing to partake in,
Okay,
but it sounds
that's fair.
good on
It
paper.
is. It's informative.
Sure.
I think.
Good.
Very good. All right. Well, we're going to take a break here, guys.
My
And,
glass is getting it empty.
yeah.
I need to.
Yep.
Boomer Don's gonna finish off this Jack.
Yeah, we got to get the
Take it to the dome.
we got to get the third bottle here queued up.
Next, you got to take me to the dome.
Yep.
If I drink all of that, I can't go home.
That's all right. You can sleep next to Nick.
There you go. There you go.
You have the same problem?
It wouldn't be the first time we've spooned, and it won't be the last.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I got to think about that for a minute. I can't remember.
All you want.
Well, we're going to think about spooning and Jack Daniels, and we're going to come back with some pop culture headlines, and then come back for the final segment, interviewing Boomer Don.
An evening
Yes,
with the Donald.
that's right.
Evening with the dawn.
That's right. But our stack of cards, the whole bit. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back after this.
Four, three. Everybody's coming.
All right, welcome back to Convincing Idiots. Fourth generation.
Whoa.
Wow! I didn't even think of that. You're
Look
right.
at that.
Yes,
Yeah,
Wow. Brr, we've completed,
that's right. That's right.
that's what you
and that's the beginning of time. Like it's somewhere you guys.
Nick wouldn't
and then-
understand that reference.
Well, like my
He hasn't completed a girl's
yeah.
ever, I don't think.
I said that's what she said. So.
Yeah. That's what they all say.
So a couple pop culture headlines here, guys. So Jimmy Fallon is coming up on 10 years already on the Tonight Show.
That seems like a lot longer than what I would have said. If you would have asked me how many years Jimmy Fallon's been on Tonight Show, I would say probably 6 or 7.
And actually, Seth Meyers also. Seth Meyers on Late Night was also 10 years
I
coming
saw
up.
him the other day.
Both those guys.
A clip of his, and it's really strange. Have you guys watched Seth Meyers?
Yeah.
He's not wearing a suit. It's just in like a low cut button. You know how I normally wear my button ups. You know,
Yeah.
kind of down to here. That's what he's doing. No makeup, no hair. It just looks like he's doing it out of his basement. I mean, funny. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
On his show.
Yeah,
on the
on his
air?
show. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay? So, real quick question.
Sure.
The timeline on that. So Seth Meyers took over for when Conan left, right?
No.
Or was there somebody else?
I guess
The thing that I
No.
thought that Seth Meyers took over the same time.
It's the same spot as Conan had.
Right.
30.
So,
Right.
but when Jay originally left, Conan had it
Correct.
famously, and then it
Jay came back.
Jay came back,
correct.
and then so
I think
who had
So
maybe-
no, but
Conan
it
changed networks even too.
yeah. Well,
Conan was on TV. or
Conan on TBS.
TBS, yeah.
Okay.
And then
right.
now he has the podcast.
Right. Yes. Right.
But if Jimmy Fallon and what's his name are in the same 10 years, he couldn't have taken over Conan right away. So there had to have been somebody.
That's what I
else.
was. That was what kind of the question was, like the timeline of that. Like
I don't even remember.
yeah.
All right.
It's
Anyways,
not really that important. Just
yeah,
a question.
yeah.
If nobody knows
Nick's
it, we don't
ruining
have
the
to spend
show.
time.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
God forbid I ask a question and bring thoughtful content to the show.
Moving on.
No, but just time flies. I mean, it seems like Jimmy Fallon was just on Saturday Night Live just recently. I mean,
Yeah. Well, Seth Meyers was there even longer than him.
Well, that's true.
I mean, more
Doing
recent. He was on SNL
Yeah.
more recently than Jimmy Fallon.
Right. Yeah. So again, 10 years that's a long stint as a late night talk show host, no question about it. So it's definitely a good career. So
I do like Jimmy Fallon in that spot. Like, I think he does a good job there. I mean, I don't watch regularly, but so is Jay. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
That's what you need at that time spot. And then, like, when you go up to the late night show, that's where you can get a little more weird and like how Conan. Like, I always resonated more with the Conan O'Brien.
Absolutely.
You know, than wasn't a big Jay Leno fan, but I prefer Jimmy Fallon to Jay. But yeah, I think he's done a good job. I like the little skits he does, and it could be in part because, you know, he's closer to my age. He's more from my era, so a lot of little skits and, you know, commentary and things kind of resonates more with me.
yeah.
But Jimmy Fallon, I think, has done a great job. Great job on the late night
Super.
show.
And he definitely brings the the
the
SNL
Tonight Show.
skit and the improv talents
Yeah.
to the show. I mean, he could sing, he could do those bits and everything. So yeah, I think he's a great host. So just while we're all talking here a little bit, you can elaborate on Jimmy Fallon a bit if you want to. But where does he and Seth Meyers, for that matter, where do they stack up as far as talk show hosts that you have enjoyed over time? I dropped my clip.
Well, you go ahead. So radio.
I don't know. We didn't even have a radio.
Tell us about vaudeville.
Vaudeville. My time goes back to Jack Parr, who was the original late night. And after him, it was Steve Allen.
Okay. Yep.
And Steve Allen has it. But my favorite's still Johnny Carson.
Johnny was the best.
Because he has that quick. And I remember Johnny Carson on Who Do You Trust? It was like
That was what he did before.
The game
the
show.
show
right?
he did
Yeah.
before, yeah. And he was there for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was good at what he did. He could make those people really, really thick.
Yeah.
And, it was interesting watching him at night.
How long was Johnny Carson on the air?
30 plus years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I used to watch him in the 80s growing up.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson. Yeah, absolutely.
There's I think it is Prime has like channels, and there is
there's
a Johnny Carson channel.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're
I think
right.
And, well, we
Yeah.
watched the other night just kind of different clips throughout the years and stuff.
And all the
Still holds up.
stars that wanted to get on his show.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone that ever started
That was
Sure.
that was the
wanted to be
pinnacle.
on Johnny
Yeah.
Carson.
Yeah.
And he had a whole slew of them.
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
even
the
as like
starters.
a comic, the goal was, there are a lot of comics would do the show, do the stand up, and then good night or whatever.
Yeah.
Their goal was for Johnny, which happened occasionally, would call them over and have them sit at the couch and do an impromptu interview, which they weren't expecting.
Martin Short talks about that in his book that I was referencing last week that I read or listened to, and that was pretty cool. He was talking about like, that being the big thing, just being invited onto the couch was like a big deal.
Sure.
And Jay Leno didn't do bad. I mean,
Yeah,
Jay was good. Jay was safe. He was
yeah,
fine.
Jay was not the orator or that Johnny Carson was, but Jay was okay
yeah.
until he got burnt.
Oh yeah. Did you guys hear about that? He was.
Oh,
was it
yeah,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
oil
Yeah.
fire or
His
He
garage or
was messing
something.
with the carburetor, I think.
Yeah, like he had all scarred up.
Backfired
Right.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
on his face.
Shit.
That he messed up for a long time.
Jesus, I hope he had
No, he's-
insurance.
Well, you know,
And if he did have insurance, I hope it was Blake Insurance. Because let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you this. Because Blake Insurance is an Erie insurance agency located right here in Barberton, Ohio.
Right here.
They provide auto, home, renters, and business insurance with honesty, decency, and affordability. Erie Insurance is above all else in service. You want to call 234-571-5359 or visit BlakeInsuranceLLC.com.
Very good.
For your free, that's right, I said free, 5-minute quote today.
There you go.
Nicely done.
I like him myself a lot.
Big fan. Big
good.
fan.
Big fan of him personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great guy.
Aaron's the goodest of dudes.
Golden-haired angel.
So
Mailer
Carson.
Swift, as he's affectionately been referred to
That's right.
on this podcast.
That's right.
He is the male Taylor Swift.
So Carson's the best.
Huh?
Carson's the best in your.
I
in your
think
take.
so because, like I said, they all tried to get on his show all the time. You know, and if you started there, if you got there, there was some breaks coming your way.
Yeah.
You know, and it definitely is a proven fact. Because look at some of them that came out of that. I can't remember all of them, but there was a lot of stars that came out of his show. A lot of comedians.
Yeah.
Sure.
Came out of his show and done well down the road.
He was a good interviewer.
Yeah, he
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was funny too sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love the bit with him, like the mind reader bit that he did for years. You know, when he read
The
Card-
great
yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. He had the big turban thing. Cartini or
Karnak.
something.
Karnak, yeah.
Karnak.
Karnak.
That's
Karnak.
it. Karnak. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
That was
His
always
memory's
funny.
still sharper than
I was
yours.
going to say,
No,
how's
it's
this
good.
77-year-old going to be
Nicely done.
pulling up shit more than I am?
Good. So Nick, who was your favorite?
I don't get why that's happening.
For me, it was absolutely Conan O'Brien. As far as late night hosts,
Okay.
Conan O'Brien was just that. I mean, he was a writer on SNL, but he just had that right kind of off the wall, offbeat comedy that I enjoy. And to this day, yeah, like I would specifically stay up late just to like catch a little bit of the Conan O'Brien show.
Yeah.
He was always my favorite. Like I said, I would watch different ones based on who was going to be on and who was going to be a guest. Like if there's somebody, celebrity that I really liked was going to be on one. Arnold was commonly on Jay because him and Jay were friends and that was cool. So I'd watch for certain guests. But Conan O'Brien was absolutely the top dog for me. Honorable mention to Dave Letterman, though. I enjoyed Dave Letterman's show a lot when I was a kid, but Conan was number one for me.
Yeah.
But I missed the Johnny Carson years. That was far before me.
Yeah. Very good. What about you?
How the hell old are you?
Just turned 36, fella.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson.
Your daughter shops in the junior section.
I often said that, but I
Save some cash, you know?
yeah.
Yep. You get the tough skins.
All right, yeah, Johnny Carson is the GOAT. He is more I've watched him lately and what I watched as a kid. He is the best. But if I'm going to go like a personal Mount Rushmore type situation, I love David Letterman. Letterman to me, in high school, I had a routine at bedtime throughout high school.
Whack off, brush your teeth.
Not necessarily in that order.
Oh no, I used
I
it.
didn't brush my teeth.
No, I used it for the toothpaste.
Oh, okay.
Told you.
Incorporated. No, there was a certain. I was in bed. I would Letterman. I would never watch the guest. I didn't care shit about the guest. It was about the bits, and so I got to a certain point. It was time for my bedtime. I turn out the lights. I'm going to bed. Letterman, all throughout, and even until he left to CBS, he was to me the what Nick said about Conan O'Brien about being like innovative and weird and funny. There is no Conan without Letterman.
No.
Sure.
Letterman was the original college
Offbeat one kind of.
offbeat
Not afraid
comedy.
to try things.
Right, throwing watermelons off the fucking side of the building.
Man,
just
I love that.
Like it shouldn't have worked. That bit should not have worked.
I love that.
But it did every time. Like his little bit, the small one-liners that he put into everything. He was brilliant.
Yeah. And he's my favorite as well. I just, like you said, I would venture to guess probably a lot of Gen X age
Yes.
people probably go to Letterman as well. Because again, like you said, Carson was the king. Here's the young upstart guy coming in trying to make a name for himself. So he had to do, not unlike Fallon and Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
I gotta mix in some wacky bits and different things to try to draw in an audience.
Yeah.
So like you said, the building stuff, the hydraulic press, smashing hot
things,
dogs and dolls and
We're
different
going next
things.
door to the fucking bodega.
Yeah. The train engine, they put stuff on a track and it had a train engine that would just smash stuff, just all kinds of crazy.
But if you look at late night, there is a direct train line from Johnny Carson to David Letterman, because David Letterman, let's face it, if you know about the late night wars, Letterman was the successor to Johnny Carson.
Yep.
For whatever reason, whatever had happened, he didn't get it. That's why he went to CBS. But it was from Johnny Carson to Letterman to Conan.
Yeah.
Those three are the triad, to me, of late night.
Yeah.
Yep. Certainly of modern late night. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
No love for Space Ghost?
Space Ghost was good.
Space Ghost was
Space
good.
Ghost Coast to Coast was
That was
low key.
fucking
I know
whack.
it doesn't necessarily.
eat that pickle?
It probably doesn't necessarily qualify.
Dude, that was so good.
But
It was good.
as a spoof of a late night show,
Right.
and having like guests of that culture, that generation, that was the beginning of
All right,
Adult
all
Swim, really. The late night Cartoon Network Adult Swim thing. Space Ghost Coast to Coast, I feel like paved the way for all of that shit, because it's like here's where we can make a cartoon.
We can go ahead and write this down. This could be a topic. This could be
absolutely.
a
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of late night, because as he's saying that, Jon Stewart's up there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The offbeat, off to the side.
Okay.
Still, we could do a late night topic.
That's good. Yeah, we'll table that. But yes, Space Ghost is very good. And then you had the actual footage of the actual cartoons back then.
Right. Yeah.
And did you ever? And maybe we can say this, but like, did any of you ever know if the celebrities knew exactly who they were talking to? Because it always seemed like sometimes they were confused on like, what was
I think it
happening.
was
Yeah, but they did because like they would address Space Ghost.
They
like,
would, but it didn't seem like they knew exactly what was happening.
Right.
Like,
Or if they
it's
took
like
B-roll
they were-
footage or whatever, it was just
Right.
like, we're going to work this in, and then we'll mold what Space Ghost says
Right.
around what they're saying to make it funny or something like that. But yeah, that was, I don't know. That was a fun one.
That's
Definitely.
good.
It kind of seemed like something in the vein that would be a skit that something like a Conan O'Brien or a Dave Letterman would
Right.
do, because it was just so weird and something different. But
Good stuff.
anyway, yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, a lot of us watched the Oscars this past Sunday, so we're
watch
shooting
it?
this on Wednesday.
Didn't think so.
I watched the whole thing, start to
Alright.
finish.
We missed the first hour because I didn't realize it didn't start at goddamn 8 o'clock. So
Yeah, and I was happy about that. I like that time.
yeah, it started at 7 or some
7
shit?
o'clock.
Yeah.
I consumed it as all millennials do. I
Right.
saw clips on Instagram and TikTok, and that's
fine.
basically how I watched it.
That's
I
fine.
got the footnotes. I know what happened.
Well, why don't we just start with just the broadcast in general? So, how did Jimmy Kimmel do, and who watched it as his host? So, how do you think Kimmel did?
He was good, but you need a little bit more spice. You know, I mean, some
He
of
definitely
them
plays
really
it relatively
fired
safe.
some of those other stars out there in the audience. He didn't do that.
Well, I didn't want to
No.
get hit.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you know we get slapped.
No, he doesn't do that really anyway. He definitely knows the
Has he
audience,
done
and
it
he
before?
he's hosted
Okay.
I think it's his third time.
But you also
I
got to
think
think that
hosting.
he's actual friends with a lot of those people
Right,
out there.
right. So he got it, yeah.
Well, plus
But
he has
he
to talk,
was-
so he wants them to come on as a guest.
Right,
Too.
you
He's
don't
not
wanna
gonna
shit on
He's
them.
not going to insult
Right.
them. You know.
But he did a good job. I
Yeah.
mean, he kept the thing moving. It's, some of the stars were quite intrigued with him. So hey,
Sure.
Yeah.
I was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's reasonable. I agree.
Yeah.
And some of the bits were okay.
Mm-hmm.
The John Cena bit I thought was funny.
The John Cena bit. Can
You know.
we talk about that now?
Well, what do you think of Kimmel real quick, and then we'll
Okay.
get to your favorite
All right.
moments.
Kimmel's good. Kimmel, like you said, he was safe. He did Kimmel. Like it was
It's a late night show,
Yeah.
almost.
he did Kimmel.
Oscars. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was good. I liked the bit when he read Donald Trump's tweet.
That was funny.
That was fun. Mm-hmm. And you know that fucking redhead monster's just seething and getting so angry. Made me feel good.
Okay. Yeah, and Kimmel's good. Like I say, he's a serviceable host, and like you say, he understands she's got to keep it moving.
Right.
He's also cognizant of the time, and let's speed it up and that type of thing to get out of there at a reasonable hour. So,
Right.
yeah, that's
Right.
what you need too. So, okay, so favorite moments. Obviously, the Donald Trump tweet.
Ooh,
Go ahead, please.
Arnold and Danny DeVito.
That was
The
great.
Batman
Yeah,
bit with
that was
Michael
good.
Keaton.
That was
Yeah,
really
and
good.
Michael
Yeah,
Keaton was
of
like, I was like, ah, man.
Like you saw that and you're like, That's the next Batman. You need his
Although
Batman.
the
Yeah.
flaw in it was that was not. Arnold's
I agree.
Batman.
It wasn't Arnold's Batman.
They just
But it was
glazed
Danny
over that.
DeVito's.
Like
Danny
it was,
DeVito's.
but George Clooney was Arnold's Batman. But
it-
but I mean, it works.
you
for
get-
the,
you got
obviously
it,
no
you
one's. I mean,
understood. Right.
the sake of the joke is that Michael Keaton is commonly probably the most recognizable Batman, I would
Right.
say,
Right.
of all of them.
Sure.
I mean, really, when
Yeah.
you think Batman in film, I
Probably
think
the first
Michael
one that pops in
Keaton's
your mind.
The
Sure.
first one.
Yep.
But I thought that was a cool little bit, and I like that they, obviously teased it's like, why they're together, that it's obviously
The
twins,
twins,
but
sequel coming.
the fact
yeah.
that they were both Batman villains, and I thought that was pretty cool. So,
Yep.
yeah, enjoyed that.
Good. Well, we talked about John Cena a little bit already. That was a funny bit.
That was a funny bit. I enjoyed. First of all, as soon as it happened, I went in online and was like, "All right, I got to see." Everybody has to be enthralled as I am and finding it funny. Dude, everybody shit on this bit.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know what's happened to X, but it was just covered with people saying that it's the initiation into the Illuminati, that it's a ritual to humiliate him so that people so he'll be part of the
It was like the
baby
anniversary of
eating
this.
club.
There was a streaker that.
No, again, I understood the bit. I got the joke. It was hilarious, but apparently a lot of
Was it 50
right-wing
years?
nuts.
It was some anniversary. There was an actual streaker
Right.
that went across the stage that surprised everybody. So it was to celebrate
Did you see it?
that
I saw,
anniversary.
some had something to do with wardrobe or whatever. They were making a joke about something else, weren't they? Like,
Well, it ended up wardrobe.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel
Yeah.
came on and said, 50 years ago or whatever it was, there was a streaker.
Yeah.
Luckily, he goes, could you imagine a streaker coming across the stage today? I said, could you imagine a streaker coming across today? And looks back, and John Cena pokes his head out and goes, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then he walks over there he's like, I changed my mind and stuff. And then he comes out with the big card.
right over him, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they did after they announced the wardrobe, because John Cena's funniest line was as soon as he got there with the card and just him, and he goes, wardrobe might be the most important thing because he's naked.
Yeah.
And then they come back from after announcing the nominees, and he was in a giant dress.
Like a curtain or something.
Yeah,
They
something
wrapped him
like
in it. Yeah. That was funny.
No, it was very funny.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite bit.
Yep.
What about you?
You?
Dad?
Any favorite moment of the Oscars or moments?
I kind of try to pay attention to all of them that win.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much the drum thing with the Indians.
Oh yeah, right.
That was cool. That was very
They had
cool.
all those drummers around
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
And they did their language.
Yeah.
Navajo, maybe?
I don't know. Utes? I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, that was entertaining
Yeah, that was cool.
because they did it in their native language, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Nice.
The Ryan Gosling, I'm Just Ken bit was. I think that was one
fun.
of the best
Yeah.
music acts that I can recall watching. It was fun.
Right.
They were good,
Yeah.
and I thought it was thoroughly entertaining.
Brian
That whole
Gosling is
bit.
a treat for men and women alike.
They even had the actors that played the other Kens that were there.
Yeah,
came
I
up
saw
on
that.
the stage and
Yeah.
participated and stuff like that. So then they got the whole crowd up and just energized. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was a good bit.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, as far as winners, Oppenheimer was the huge winner of the evening. I think it won 7 Oscars, something like that. Best Picture,
As it
Best
should.
Director, Best Supporting Actor with Robert Downey Jr.
So I saw bits and pieces of that
I
was it
haven't
last
seen
night.
Of
Best
the
actor?
Oscars or Oppenheimer?
No, of Oppenheimer. And
You're going to watch bits and pieces.
well, Robin was watching it, and I'd look up every now and again. But like, it was shot in different, like it's different. Like
It was like black and
there's
white.
some black and white scenes.
yes.
There's some like it. It was every time I looked up at the screen, it's like it was like a different Like you're watching a different movie or a different like.
Did
so
you
it's
think
kinda
about
somewhat
putting down
interesting.
your Pokemon cards and actually watching the
That's a
film?
movie you have to sit down and watch. Yeah, you have to watch that.
Well, first of all, it was already 20. Like she'd already started watching it like 20 minutes ago, and also I don't like I said I just don't have any desire to see. Like I don't care at all.
Good movies,
But
yeah.
I
it was
don't
long.
care.
I think it was well acted.
It looked very good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
So,
You saw it?
yeah.
It's
From
very
what
good.
I've seen of it, okay, I haven't
He
seen all
also
the way
watched
through.
bits and pieces.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not saying it should have been the only one to win, but
Yeah.
it definitely was up there in the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely, as I'm watching it, I'm sort of like, I think this is a good movie. It's pretty good. But then as it was over, I'm like, was that one of the best movies I ever, I know. But as I reflected on it afterwards, it's like, man, it really was a powerful message. And
Right.
yeah, it's a very big subject to tackle.
is.
And I thought they
You
overall
gotta
did a
think
good job of that.
visually, cinematically,
Yeah, it was really, well, I think it won Best Cinematography,
Yep,
I believe, as
the-
well. Yeah.
the acting, like everything about it, drew you in. It was what kind of movies needed, right? It was a film, you know what I mean? Comparative to a lot of the things from the Oscars from the past were these indie films almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this was something everybody saw. Everybody, other than Barbie, everybody got together and said, yes, this was fantastic. We loved going to see this. So I think that in that sense, it deserved everything it was. Now, if you'd have told me Paul Giamatti would have won for Holdovers, I wouldn't have argued that.
No.
But Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy won, and you can't argue that. He was fantastic.
It wasn't a situation where the awards they won, you're like, no, there's no way.
Right.
Like you said, yeah, I could see.
Hold on. I got to bring out one.
Go ahead.
For the first time in over 80 years, it has been on the screen. Godzilla won its first fucking Oscar.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah,
Visual effects.
I did not like, though, that the poor man is up there
They cut him off.
all excited.
Well, he was kind of ruining the show.
No. Come on, man.
What?
It's a guy, he's super stoked and excited to win the award.
I get
English
that.
is not his primary language.
get that.
He's nervous. He pulls out and he's trying to
course.
read his fucking
He was part
speech.
of a Godzilla movie. He had no idea he'd be on the fucking stage.
They couldn't have dubbed somebody over his speech.
That would have been great.
Oh man!
But then they,
Thank
like
you so
said, it
much
sort
for
of
the speech.
They play the fucking guy off of there. It's
would like to thank
come
my parents.
on, man.
It was cringe. It was very cringe.
You know what? And that got me thinking too, because the guy won the documentary about Ukraine.
Yes.
And he's going on for a minute. I'm like, if they
You
play,
know
if
they
play,
weren't playing
that
him
director
off.
was probably like, you better not fucking touch that goddamn
That
button.
motherfucker sweating, going, I don't know what to do.
And that was a good moment.
Yes.
It was a sad moment, but a good moment. The guy was like they made a documentary of the horrors in Ukraine, and he basically said, I would, in so many words, I would trade. I wish I didn't make this movie.
Right.
I would trade not making this movie and not have all the atrocities
If he
over
was
here.
slightly
Basically,
better at English, that sentence should have been, I wish I wouldn't have had to make this movie. Because when he first
You know what
said
he
it,
meant.
you're like,
you know what he meant.
you did, but
Yeah.
it's still,
Everybody
I mean,
So that was
fucking English.
that was powerful. But yeah, I mean, it was sort of like I said earlier, it was sort of an upset by some for Emma Stone to win Best Actress over, I have her right here, the lady Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon. Some people were thinking now, and actually, you know what? I'm glad that she didn't win, but I'm glad that they.
Jesus.
No. No. But it seemed to be the Academy said, listen, we're going to pick who we think had the best performance, period. We're not getting influenced by the first
Star power.
Native American to win the award, And I haven't seen the movie. I'm sure she's great
Sure,
in
it was
it.
great.
I did see Emma Stone, and she was great. So They did not seem to, I guess you can look at it that way. They didn't succumb to any pressure.
So you're
to give
glad
it to
the
somebody.
Native American didn't win?
No. I'm glad
So
that they
first
felt.
you stole their land, and now you're going to steal their award.
Let's
I'm
more
glad
about
that they felt I'm glad they felt they can just. This is who we thought had the best performance. This is who's winning, and that's it. That's what they should do.
It was weird that they really closed in when she lost at a single tear.
Oh my God! like a litter commercial. God. No, but actually, you know what? That moment was nice on camera too, because everybody was very gracious and everything. So it was good.
It was a good award show.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it didn't seem like 3 hours. 3 hours did go by.
It did go quick.
Pretty quickly.
Well, I missed the first hour, so I guess 2 hours went quick.
Yeah.
Felt more like 2 hours because that's all I watched.
How'd your 30 seconds go?
It was great.
All right. Well, our discussion topic. So we get to an Ask an Idiot question here. So
30 seconds of that and 20 minutes of Oppenheimer. It was great. Knocked them both out. I don't see what the fuss is about either one.
Brevity.
So Robert Downey Jr. he had a good speech. It was his first Oscar. I was happy to see him win.
Really?
Yes. I think he's been nominated before, but this is his first win for Best Supporting Actor
Weird
for
that he didn't
Oppenheimer.
win for Chaplin.
I don't know.
No, I know he didn't, but it's still that was a fucking fantastic movie.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. That's fine. I'm sure it's a good movie.
No, he's annoyed because he remembers watching the original Charlie Chaplin. So when that movie came
Rendition,
out,
not so
come
good.
on, no, I remember what that guy was.
Yeah, what happened to your dad and I an awful lot. We'd be like a storm. Yeah, we'd be walking down the street and the fucking front of the house would fall down and we'd be trapped inside the window.
Right.
We just had all those narrow escapes. You know what I mean?
It happened a lot.
Yeah. If we just weren't standing at that exact spot.
I know.
Happened a lot in the dust storm.
Yeah, it would have been a catastrophe. No, but one thing that Robert Downey Jr. said is something along the lines of, what we do is important, making movies is important. And I'm not talking about documentaries. I mean, certainly documentaries, you could argue, that's a different level where you're telling a real story about real people. So you could definitely have an impact with making a documentary. So we're not talking about those, but just motion pictures in general, movies in general, non-documentary. So do you buy into what he's saying? So are movies that important in the sense of they can make an impact beyond just entertaining people? Have you watched movies that make you think and maybe you reflect on things differently, or are you more along the lines of just get off your high horse, man? It's just you guys. I mean, we appreciate what you guys do. You're entertainers. You definitely allow us time to focus on something besides our normal troubles in life for a while, which is important in itself, right? But is it really that big a deal to make movies beyond entertainment? So that's sort of our question. Go ahead, Dean.
If it wasn't for films and cinema, Nick would not have a sex life. I just want to put that out there. It would be zero.
Why do you say
I
that?
masturbate a lot.
Oh, there you go.
What he's saying?
Okay.
Is there a film made about my virginity?
No, but your hand. I watch it every day. No, I kind of lean on both camps because when he was saying that, I kind of cringed a little bit. And I'm like, that it's very conceited.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of felt like, hey, we're
You're like,
important
all right,
here.
relax.
Yeah.
There's fucking people trying to cure cancer, and you're playing pretend.
You got the fucking guy
people to
making the Ukraine documentary over here. That guy's got some. Those are real
Calm
issues.
down, Iron Man.
But but once I did get to think about it, there are a lot of movies. There are a lot of. Let me start with this. There are a lot of movies out there that are heavy. That are.
No question. Yeah.
They do have a big scale in people's lives. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people out there that don't fucking get out. You know what I mean? Like, films are their life.
Sure.
So to some people, yeah, films are a huge part of life. And there are certain films that maybe like Oppenheimer that whether you see it or not, they do teach.
Sure.
Even if it's not a documentary, there
I
are
don't think we
films
need to
that
teach people how to make bombs anymore. I think we're good there.
No, if you'd have watched the goddamn movie, no nuts, you would have learned that it is not showing you how to make fucking bombs. It's showing you the horrors of what happens when you make.
You don't know
that
what
decision.
exploding people's going to do? How horrible that's going to be?
It's the decision.
living with-
I don't think I
living
need to watch a 4.5 hour movie to understand that.
Living with the fact that you created a something that kills a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Nick's jokes.
You wonder.
I do kill.
You wonder how many of those people that made the movie was thinking about what destruction it caused.
You would have to, right?
Right.
It depends your frame of mind, I guess, because if you're just doing a job, you don't
Yeah, they're
think
just
about
saying
what
words and then moving on.
Right.
But
You can't
if
put the
you're-
genie back in the bottle.
Right.
That's, you know.
But if you're thinking about the destruction it would do, that's another story. So I don't know how the movie, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's going to lay along those lines of what it did
Yeah.
in the end, and the people that made it are going, holy shit, what did I do here?
Because that's the ultimate. At the end, that's, I mean, spoiler alert, they dropped the bomb.
Well, now I don't need to watch it.
Right.
So.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But the ultimate,
What?
The fuck?
Where?
Yeah, right.
the ultimate idea of the movie is Oppenheimer trying to come to terms with what he has done to the world. And I think that you get that sense when the movie. So if you have, if you have kids that
He's not.
kids or adults or whatever that like aren't up on history, and movies are the only way that they know history. I think that's a huge part to that, to show them that part of the world, that part of history, not just like the, war movies and bang, bang, bang and cowboys,
Right.
Yeah, the
right
human
in it.
element. Yeah.
The human element.
Right.
So in that sense, and again, I'm using Oppenheimer because it is part of this year, but there's been a lot of movies that have done that in the past that really hit home for a lot of people.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
in a sense, I do agree with him. Was it heavy for him to say it in that way? Probably, but he does have a point.
Okay. All right. Nick, what do you think?
I agree with a lot of what you just said.
Let's move on then.
Like you said, it's a little bit, you get like a little bit douchey. You're like, okay, but at the same time, it's like, he's not wrong. The one that came to mind initially for me immediately when you posed the question was
Mighty
Sean-
Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I used to judge Megazords, and then no, it was
Judge your Megazord
Sean Penn in Milk. His
Yeah,
portrayal of Harvey
yeah.
Milk.
Good
Important
call.
performance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would I ever have considered myself before that movie like homophobic or anything? Like, no. But growing up at a time where we threw a lot of homophobic language around and saying things like that,
Right.
I was never against anyone from the LGBTQ plus community, but seeing the story played out of a gay man in that time and what they had to go through and things they experienced. At the time, I didn't have any close friends that were gay. I didn't know anybody that was gay. It was just a word you threw around.
Sure.
But, and then like watching that movie at that time was kind of a very like, oh shit, like wow, moment, and seeing somebody, humanized in that way that you never really thought about. Again, it was never like a hateful thing or anything. It was my knowledge of the subject was just null and void. It just wasn't there. I was just ignorant to it. And then so seeing a movie like that for me was really important. I wouldn't say it started exactly with Milk, but seeking that movie out and watching Sean Penn's performance as Harvey Milk in that movie,
Yeah.
it was an important performance. It was, and I think, there's probably a lot of people that saw that movie and started to reanalyze the way that they feel about people from different walks of life. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with your sexuality, but could be anything, in life. And there's many films like that. But I do think, yeah, right. People judge bestiality sometimes unjustly. But it's like if the duck wants it, you know what I mean?
If you're
Like,
willing,
yeah, right. But no, it's
Walks like a duck, talks like a duck. Fuck it.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think it is. I mean, there are definitely heavy performances and delivered correctly. And when the actors' hearts are in the right place and want to do justice to those performances, like I do think it is important work. Like you said, you're not doctors, you're not teachers.
Right.
But at the same time, you are conveying a message to people. You are much more easily accessing people's homes and minds and therefore hearts through their televisions or, you know, through theaters or whatever than what they might be willing to absorb otherwise.
It's not like you're out there, you know, trying to save people with insurance. Because I wish I would have waited because that's the...
But you know the story. Aaron Blake.
Yeah.
Changing lives.
Yeah. Should have waited.
Good. What about you?
Huh?
What have you like actors? You think that like
Him, like everybody else, they
Milk,
tuned you
I've
out
seen
the
Milk,
past
too.
20 minutes.
yeah.
I guess I was kind of prepared for it because I'd been around. You know,
Okay. Didn't know that about your dad.
Just movies in general. I mean, are movies more entertainment for you, or are movies just more entertainment for you, or do you think that they can have impacts on, you know, like Nick said, kind of reaching people in a different way, making you reflect and think. You touched it a little bit with Oppenheimer already, but
definitely impact.
yeah,
You just think back on the movies that you've seen that really had an impact. When you left the theater, you go, geez,
yeah,
that was something. Which would be brought up as We Were Soldiers, one of the best impacting movie ever made. If you ask a question about what was it like in Vietnam, watch the movie. You'll really get a list of what's going on, what went on. And so the movies you watch, some of them will steer you in a different direction. And Milk was one of them that steered a lot of people in another direction.
Yeah.
A good direction.
Yeah, I like girls before that movie.
No, I agree with you what you guys just say. I mean, there's certain movies like Ricky Stanicki knows what it is, right? They're not making that movie to say we're going to try to impact people in a different way. This is just a fun entertainment. And
There's a message there.
And there's a place
Stanicki changed Brian's life.
There is a message there. There is a time and a place to let a lie die.
That's
and not carried in
You know
your
what? There was some meaning in there with friends and
absolutely.
true friends and this
Actually,
and that,
I will say I walked away from that movie because I was like, it's a touching movie in the regard of like how close those three guys were.
Yeah.
And they kept that friendship and the fact that I'm like, those guys cared so much about each other that they made up a fake person in their adult lives, married with like children and stuff, to like get away from their families to make time for one another. I was like, that's really nice. That's very touching.
The reality
it's
would
fucked up.
They all would have been
touching.
divorced in reality because that's a terrible, horrible lie. Especially get out of your own baby shower for that. But
it's a nice story, really.
Yeah.
But is he anything like Bob Sacamano?
I guess it's sort of like it's that thought. Yeah,
right.
it's that.
You'll learn about that as you go on.
It's sort of that thought.
Okay.
No, but movies can. I agree with you. They can have an impact.
Yeah.
So I've watched plenty of movies where I appreciate the fact that it's a good story that makes you think and reflect on something, and you pause for a second, and you could take that with you, and like you say, you learn something that maybe you think differently that you weren't expecting to, like you said, coming out of the end of that movie. And maybe that does make you think about certain situations and certain people a little bit differently, and that's certainly a positive thing potentially, So
are you talking about like Passion of the Christ because you knew a lot of people in the crowd?
Sure, right.
I wish we wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have done
They
that.
really did not portray Pilate correctly. You know what I'm saying? So anyway.
Yeah.
No. So is it super important, like Robert Downey Jr. said? I'm not sure. Maybe in that room, again, it's the people doing it, and that's their profession. That's one thing. Okay, great. But, it definitely can have a larger impact on society.
Opening hearts and minds.
Right.
Just like we do on this show.
Of course.
Each and every week. Our buddy here, Boomer Don, hated the show when it started. But we've changed his heart and his mind, and now he's here. Look at
That's
that.
right.
What show did I?
That's right.
This one. Now you're here, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, you misunderstood. He said he hated your performance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he used performance in quotations.
Yeah.
We should add, he cannot get out of this chair unassisted, and he's been asking to leave for the past 4 hours. So we're
Held hostage by gravity.
That's right.
We're not talking about my dad. We're talking about Nick. He shit his pants.
And a bad hip.
Yeah.
Doesn't help.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to what?
Nipple check. Go ahead.
You forgot how wide set my
Wow.
nipples are. You
I
missed
did.
it.
I missed
Yeah.
it.
Lord.
Okay.
You know. Don't act like you don't know.
Well, we have the scat bus is going to be here in about 45 minutes. So we're going to take another break here and then come back with our Boomer Don interview segment, gentlemen.
Prepare to answer some questions.
That's right.
I don't have all the answers.
What are we going to
I'll
ask?
give you a couple.
What would you like to ask? You just have to come back after the break.
Over the years, I've lived in a great number of places. And I've learned one thing. Where you live isn't nearly as important as how you live. That's why my line of clothes is designed to fit the man instead of the place. This simply means nothing too far out, nor too conservative for that matter. Just good-looking, comfortable, uncomplicated, yet not too expensive clothes. My new suit's a perfect example. It's from my totally coordinated new spring collection. I wear the suit. It doesn't wear me. I simply believe when a man is well-dressed, you just aren't aware of his clothes. If you agree with this philosophy, I'd like you to take a look at the totally coordinated Johnny Carson collection for spring.
Hey there! Welcome back to Convincing Idiots. This is segment number 3. That's right. I am Millennial Nick, alongside Gen X Brian, Xennial Larry Mulburn, and Don Harvey, the Boomer.
Good callback.
That's right. Thank you. That was a little birdie in my ear. Your brother, told me to bring that up. So we are here for segment number 3, as I have mentioned. This is our guest of honor. This is Boomer Don. We are going to interview Don tonight. If you're just joining us for segment number 3, Don is my father-in-law and Dean's father, and Brian's fellow Stone Age friend from back in the day when they were children. So we are.
Do you
going
remember
to...
the
So the Nixon inauguration together, I think.
That's right.
There you go. Yeah.
held hands when the moon landing happened?
Sure.
Beautiful.
They shared cigarettes outside. Remember the Flintstones when they did the cigarette ads?
Right.
That was those two.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Sure.
So this is a nice little reunion of sorts. So because we are so eager to learn about the days of yesteryear, and Brian is kind of a closed case, we're going to interview...
You're not as close as I am.
We're going to interview Don this evening. So, Dean, this is your father.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and get us kicked off here?
Thank you, Nicholas.
That's what his mom told him.
That's right. That's right.
We have the test results, actually. That's going to be at the end.
He's going to jump up and down.
Don? Now, go ahead. We're going to wait.
He's
We're
like,
right,
please,
we're
God, just take one off my plate. Just one. Just one.
All right.
I don't care which one. Just
So-
take one.
I wanted to do this for the longest time. I've thought about many different iterations of this, of talking to my father about different aspects of his life.
You
Because
could just call him if you want to talk to him.
I'm all right. he doesn't answer. He doesn't know how to answer the goddamn phone. It rings and it's just this magical thing in his hand and it confuses him.
It does.
So I've thought all these years about doing different aspects of writing a book, doing a podcast, telling a story, because he's had so many different things that he's done in his life. I've called him almost like the Wish version of Forrest Gump. He has done everything from he's met Muhammad Ali to he was in Vietnam. He ran moonshine. He was at the Kent State shooting in 1970. all of these things and so much more. But I wanted to get all of this, out in the universe, right? So I am taking.
You're an interesting fella.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to find out. Maybe not so much. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
That. I don't remember it being interesting.
So we're going to find out.
You made a beautiful daughter that let me hump her, and I appreciate that. That's one of the most important
Very nice.
Let's sit on that one, guys. Yeah.
Oh, what a nice, warm family moment there.
Right.
Let's let that awkwardness just hold us in its bosom.
Thank you. Don't put that picture in my mind either.
Actually, there's a picture that Brian has to put on.
There's actually a video
YouTube.
if you want to see it.
I've got a pen.
Okay.
The lighting's bad. Don't worry about it.
It's a short video.
All right. All right. So, Dad,
7 minutes of power. Brought to you.
what the hell did you do with the other 5? All right. So,
Come on, Dean, spit it the fuck out. Let's go.
We didn't talk about your dick so much and confuse and intrigue me. All right. So, Dad, I've been trying to think of like where to start, and
The beginning's good.
the beginning. Okay. You were born in 1947,
Yes, sir.
right?
Damn.
I know, I'm old.
That's almost as old as Brian.
You were born right here in Barberton. If anybody's from Barberton, you were born in the little. It's now a daycare center.
Yeah.
On Worcester Road.
Yes.
Next to the old KFC.
Right,
Yeah.
which is now torn down. But you spent your summers in Tennessee.
Summers and a lot of time other than just summer, I was down there a lot.
Okay. You rode horses. You did, I don't know, do you have sex with cows? Like, I don't know what you do in Tennessee. What do you do on a farm? Like, you know on a farm? You know what you do on a farm? You're not from, you're in Kenmore.
Thanks for skipping me immediately, because I'm the least farm person you'll ever meet. I have no idea.
Never stayed on a farm.
Well,
Right.
the whole idea of being a farm kid is really, at the time you don't see it, but later on in life you go, wow, what a trip. And I don't know, go day to day. You got your chores to do, like they say in the Cowboys.
You
got
kill
your
snakes
chores.
and whatnot?
Huh?
Kill snakes?
That's another story.
No. But I remember
want
from my
that
childhood.
story?
Yeah, the horse. And
We used to have to go up. Sometimes the cows were stubborn; they wouldn't come off the hill.
So I'm sorry, you lived on a farm? This was like the family home?
he lived here in Barberton.
Okay.
And
Summers were in Tennessee.
Summers are in Tennessee.
With grandparents?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
My namesake.
Mm-hmm.
The
And-
Deans.
the cows would not come off the hill when they called. And the strangest thing is, I remember my grandpa calling those cows. You want to hear it? See! I'd hear
But
that.
he
in
would
my
actually
sleep.
say it. I thought that was like a joke. Like,
No,
That
that's
was like a
how they
pig
call
thing.
those
Right.
cows.
But no work for cow. Okay.
And they wouldn't come off the hill. Okay, I'd have to go get them. So I'd saddle a horse and start up on the hill and go get them and run them off the hill. Well, sometimes that took a while, but anyways, we had electric fence all the way around the property. I mean, live electric fence. You always tell when it was on because you click, click. And you hear that all night and all day. But if it stopped clicking, that means the fence is down somewhere or something's wrong.
What if that happened in the middle of the night? No one would ever know.
No, he and Papa'd know.
So it was almost like a white noise thing, to where like it's
For
always
him.
it's always clicking,
Like rain or
and if it ever
something.
stopped, he'd be like, something's wrong. Like,
Yes.
just innately.
I believe, yeah, I'm sure. But there'd be a break in the wire. Anyways, one time I was going up there to get them and run them off the hill. I started running them off the hill, and I went by the pond. And we had a little water pond. Well, it's a pretty good sized water pond on top of the hill. And all all of a sudden I look over the pond, there's snakes all over the place. I'm going, what the hell's going on here? So, you know, the horse didn't want no part of that. So I went out and told my grandpa, and he said, well, they come out and sun themselves once in a while. I'm going, well, let them go back to wherever they came from, because I don't want them up there. But the time Dean's talking about is the fence shut down. So now I got to take the wire out and go take the horse, take a roll of wire and go find out where it's broken. So right where I think it's at, or where it usually breaks, I'm riding up there, and there's a rattlesnake between me and that fence. That horse took at that rattlesnake and just stomped the piss out of him. I mean,
You were on the back of it?
I was still on the back, and he was just stomping the hell out of that snake. And I'm going, okay, that's one for you, horse. Because if I'd have got off, you know, but those horses are smart too. And just like cattle and horses, and we had bulls. Bulls are mean. Don't ever let them tell you they ain't. They are. And
Go get the horns.
yeah, and we raised tobacco for a long time. And
That's
then,
one thing I do remember, because by the time I got up there with you, everything was, the farm was still viable, but there was just fields of tobacco. And they had the tobacco barns, like when you see with the slats in it, with the sun coming in.
And you had to, and the thing about handling tobacco is you cut it, stacked it on the truck, drove it up, and then you have to hang it and let it dry for a couple of weeks before you can take it to market. It's got to dry out. And
Now, one thing, again, I didn't mean to ask this question, but it kind of came to mind here. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been curious. Was there a stash that you guys had for you? Like you have the stash tobacco that you have for the market. Did you guys hold back like, oh, this is our tobacco. We're going to dry it out and we're going to smoke this or
no, because
chew this or
out of the field, it's not processed.
oh, so it's got you're setting it to a place to get processed.
It.
Okay,
Yeah, it just dries out and then you take it to market. That's how it goes. But there's no, you can't use it until then.
Till they do their thing with it, till it leaves you, and they
Yes.
yeah, because I remember my great grandmother, his grandmother, Flossie Dean. She lived till what, 98?
Something like that.
98?
Yeah.
And until they made her be in a home, I remember on the end of the ironing board was a spittoon, because she had the rip of chaw. 98 years old. Snuff.
There you go.
And fucking chewed that shit until she's 98 years old, and they made her,
She, we used to, after Grandpa died, she wanted to stay up on the farm, and we didn't want to leave her there like that, by herself. And we had to take the plugs out of the tractors, the plugs out of the chainsaw, or she'd had them
90-some years
running.
old. She'd have kept going.
Yeah, she'd have kept going. And story that Dean likes, or did like, that my stepdad was a big man. He's about 6'4", and we usually take the bull, the little calves in the bulls, down to the farmer down the road there. We walked the cows down, or took them down there. And yeah, that's one young bull that was pretty reasonable, And we were taking him down to Charlie's place. And my dad says, let me have that rope, Hobe. And he took hold of the rope, got his hands all wrapped up in that rope. And
Hobe was your grandfather.
yes, Hobe was my grandfather.
His first name.
And took off. He went through over the fence, drugging through, and all you could see is the corn ears going down where that cow was dragging Dad through the woods. That was the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. He didn't think it was so funny, but
Yeah.
You know how gigantic of a man Al Norman was.
yes.
That's a lot.
He was taking a lot of corn out with him.
Sure.
That's what was there.
If it had been tied to his feet, it'd have been up his ass.
Yes, a lot of corn.
So working on a farm like that as a kid, do you find as you go back and look at it did that instill like your work ethic? I mean, how did that impact you as you go back and look as you grew up? At the time, you probably didn't think about it. You were just doing work on Grandpa and Grandma's farm. But
Right.
How do you think that may have impacted you?
I don't. You knew you had to do it. Okay, it's like a job you do now. You know, you knew you had to do the job, and the jobs he gave me were not all that bad. You know, really, when I think back on it, but I'm sure in some ways it grew me up. As opposed to, it's one of the reasons that when I had to come back to Ohio, when I quit in my junior year and went in the military at 17, one of the reasons is I can't sit there at that desk and do that crap. I can't sit there and, 7 hours
There's
a
so
day.
much more.
Yeah, that I'd done all this with what I'd done, and I'm just not doing this. So that's when I joined the military.
But when you said that you were, it grew you up fast. Tell us about you had your driver's. You didn't get your driver's license, but you were driving at a young age.
14.
14 years old. Who taught you how to drive?
Grandpa.
Grandpa
Hobe.
Hobe Dean taught you how to drive.
Uh-huh.
So after you learned how to drive at 14, tell us about what were some of the fun jobs you got to have within your family within driving as a teenager?
Oh, Lord. I knew you'd get into that eventually. Usually it was just farm work around there with the truck.
Sure. During the day?
During the day, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I got hooked up with some people. And
Hookers.
Huh?
Hookers?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was much later in
My
life.
PP wasn't ready for that. We got hooked up with some guys, and they were making booze.
Guy hookers.
Yeah.
They were making moonshine.
They were making moonshine. So after being with them for a while, we had 2 or 3 different cars. We had a fast cars. I mean, they had motors in them, really. These guys put in. And
outrun the police, right?
oh, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So from inside, from down the mountain, down the long road, you take the car and you drive it, and then you get up on the highway, or not highway, roads, and you had about a 4-mile trip, almost 5 miles, to a little restaurant. And the little restaurant set off the road a little bit. You would run the car back in there, and you take it to the back, garage door would go up, and you'd run the car in the garage, and they put the garage door down. And that's how they unloaded the booze out of the car. I did it a few times. Till the Thurston Greg, yeah. My cousin was a Tennessee state trooper, and he told my mom that he knew I was doing it. Oh my God. The lid come off the house. I mean, holy moly.
Your cousin there, the state highway, Thurston
Greg.
Thurston Greg.
Now, how did he know that you were involved? Did you have to
Thurston Greg is
outrun
like
him?
Yes.
Like that sounds like somebody from the Dukes of Hazzard, doesn't
He
it?
recognized,
Thurston Greg.
Yeah.
I don't know how he recognized me, but he did.
Yeah. So it was like a chase scene. Like it was like a full, like he had to go after you and you had to outrun him.
I went by him, and I didn't really see the car right away off the side. And when he hit the headlights, I knew I was in trouble. So that 327, that big Buick is not going to catch me. And I got in the car, and I had time to go back and look out the basement window and see him go by.
Real quick, how old were you?
15,
15?
16,
Okay.
maybe 15. Yeah.
So you got to the house, parked the car, got in the house, and then he finally went by.
Yeah.
So this is
that's
the Dukes of
pretty good.
Hazzard shit
Yeah. Only we-
without the racism.
Right. So
I wouldn't go that far, but you know.
but that was, I could have. When I look back on those things, I think about, wow, man,
Wow.
I could have been killed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's
Couple
pretty
times.
fast. Yeah.
But
You learn how to drive to this day because you drive a lot.
yeah,
So, you learned at an early age and quite well. Baptism under fire,
yes, so to speak.
so to speak.
That got me started at Barberton Speedway back in the '60s. But that's another story. I don't know.
All right.
I wasn't that good.
Well, you said Barberton Speedway. So you've driven race cars for sport. You talked earlier tonight about. Thank you. You talked earlier tonight about playing. You went to the Mets training camp
Yes, I got to stay there for a week.
with Tub McGraw, and you also you were an amateur boxer, correct? For Golden Gloves under who?
Chetto Kelly.
Okay, and who was Chetto Kelly?
Chetto Kelly was one of the champion boxers from Barberton. One of the few that he had a bar downtown after he retired, and he ran a camp for us boys, and I boxed for I don't know, maybe a year for him. Amateur stuff, Golden Gloves, some parts of Golden Gloves, and that was an experience. And I just looked the other day. I'm at 154 pounds now. That's what I was.
You're fighting weight.
Right,
You're fighting weight. Look at that.
It was.
Now,
Well, you and Brian can weigh up and go toe to toe now. Because
Yeah,
you
Brian,
guys are the
what-
same
what's
age
your
bracket,
fighting weight
you're the
these
same
days?
age.
We're doing that at the end of the show.
Yeah, really.
there's featherweight and there's Yokozuna. So, as we go forward,
What you say?
so there's featherweight
That's a
and
90s wrestling
Yokozuna.
term. You wouldn't. It's
actually,
way after.
I found out Yokozuna was not his name. Yokozuna is a title of sumo wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was a
That was
guy.
his gimmick then.
It
It was, but then
But,
part
yeah.
of the gimmick, yeah.
All right. So, I know it's not the same time period, but you boxed as a youth under on the tutelage of Chetto Kelly. But later in life, you got to go to a training camp for who? You had to go watch somebody spar in a training camp.
Oh, Muhammad Ali. Well, at that time it was Cassius Clay.
Oh, so it was early enough to be Cassius Clay, not Muhammad
yeah,
Ali.
it was Cassius Clay. I was stationed at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and a bunch of us got together and went down to the gym that he trained at. And it so happened that he was training that day. And I never seen hands that fast. I mean it.
I mean, you could
That's
watch him on
why I
TV,
found-
but to see him in person?
nothing. I
how I feel
found
when
it-
I watch Nick masturbate.
Yeah, well,
And so fast.
So fast.
if he doesn't miss a stroke.
He's been known.
But
He has kids.
that's what impressed me most. And I followed that man's career all the way and cheered him on with other people, wanted to see him get beat because his hands were just amazingly fast. He just, man, I'm thinking about the guy on the other end of that thing that's getting the punches. You don't see him coming. Some of them, I'm sure. That's how fast he was. But he was a great boxer. He really was. But I got to see him.
And to see him in person, that's
that's cool.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Amazing.
All right, so you graduated in 1960, or what would have been 1965. You chose to when other kids, then were being drafted. You chose to volunteer for the military, but you were 17. You had to have my grandmother and Al sign you over.
Me.
Or actually, well, now it was done. It was Maxine and Don. They had to sign you over to the U.S. military, in a sense. So when you did that, I would guess that's 1964. You went into basic training where?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay. Any gold there? You see any gold? Fort Knox. You see any
Ain't
gold?
no gold there.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm an idiot.
That gold's in a river somewhere in Kentucky.
All right. All right. So, when you leave there, you don't go straight into action. You don't go to Vietnam.
No.
Where do you go?
Back to Fort Knox. After basic training, I went back to Fort Knox and trained. Then after that, I joined the 11th Cav at Fort Meade, Maryland.
Okay.
That's where I...
Yep.
And from there, it was off to the races.
Races
So
as in Korea?
Korea.
You had to go stop by... What did you do? You always told me you spent time in Korea before going to Vietnam. Why would they send you to Korea? Why would you go to Korea before Vietnam?
Because they were losing helicopter crews left and right in Vietnam. And they were not producing them in the country as fast as they needed them. And so, you went.
How long did you spend in Korea?
8 months, I think.
9
months.
9 months in Korea. So in total, you spent a good 2 to 2.5 years out of country.
2 anyways, yeah.
2 anyways. So we're gonna say Korea was the fun part.
I don't know what you call fun.
Well, I'm just going on some random stories I might have heard as a kid. That's all I'm going on.
These guys would wait for me to come home once in a while from partying and be drinking, and they'd be after me for stories all the time.
Okay, so all right, so I'm going to take this moment here to. Some of and this wasn't even a time that you came home drinking from whatever. This was times you were just coming home after work, and I was asking you about all of this, and I learned a little bit of Korean language, which he learned from the 9 months he was in Korea. So anybody, and this is all I'm going to say about this, because we don't need to go any further, but, Taksan Chargy, Skoshi Chargy. So.
You're sure of that?
Positive.
You've been peeking, brother.
Well,
You're not going to find it on there.
So you had some fun. You had downtime in Korea. You got to experience the local tastes, and
I never tasted one. No. I left out for somebody else.
I meant the food.
Damn it! I can't spell it right to even look it up.
Keep trying.
Kimchi.
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot about kimchi. That. Yeah. But sometimes it wasn't always the best times, though. You had may have had a scuffle or two.
In Korea?
Yeah. You got in a little fights there occasionally, like any service member. Again, we don't have to go with names, but it was your sergeant, wasn't it? That you got in a fight with?
Yeah, that's where I got the scar on my nose.
Yes. Yeah. Chugale?
That's why the glasses.
Chugale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a disagreement there.
Disagreement, okay.
And anyways, he punched me, and that's how that scar got there on my nose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I punched him a few times, and
No.
we were buddies after that.
Nice.
No, I mean, is that for real? Like, you guys got in a fight and you shake hands and let's go
Well,
have
we
a
didn't
beer?
shake hands.
No,
no.
but like.
It took us a few weeks to
Okay.
alter down from where
Okay.
we were. Yeah. It was a disagreement of minor stuff, I guess you'd say. But
Over anything or anybody specific?
no.
All right.
not
All right.
really.
Ah.
Nanun Tanchanan Sanan Himdada.
He just told you he loves you very much.
Very
Sweet,
nice.
huh?
Love you too.
Thank you. All right. So
That's how Dean and I got closer, by the way.
That's right.
Good punch in the
That's
face.
right.
You know?
All right. So, we're moving along here. All right. So, after Korea, all right. So we'll touch on it. You were in Vietnam. After Korea, you went to Vietnam, and we touched on it early in the episode. The movie, They Were Soldiers.
We were soldiers.
We were soldiers.
Shit.
All right.
Anybody that ever
With
had
half a brain knows that movie is called.
okay. Anybody that ever had questioned of, and will ask you what was that like, what was it? You can't possibly tell anybody what it was like. Watch the movie.
And the one thing I can say is, the one thing I will say is, when you and I were in the theater watching We Were Soldiers, you nudged me in the shoulder and pointed and said, I would be in that fifth,
Right. It was a movie.
fourth or fifth.
It was a movie script, but they did it exactly like it.
But you were in that time,
yes.
in that barrage.
Yes.
And as far as like military films, you feel like that's the most
That's-
cinematically
yeah.
accurate.
Well, yeah, because you talk to the guys that seen the movie D-Day. No, is that it? Who was that? There was another one where they
Saving
went to-
Private Ryan. About D-Day.
Yeah. The older guys that I talked to, when they seen the movie, they cried.
Sure.
Because
Some had to leave and the whole deal.
and that was the most actual for them feeling
Yeah.
of what happened at D-Day. And that's the way I feel about We Were Soldiers. It's just a movie that tells it like it is. And that's about all. I don't go into that subject a lot because I like my sleep at night.
Sure.
You know, because that, for years, that bothered me.
Yeah.
For years and years and years. And that's probably why I drank. But it was a lot of it.
Having a kid like Dean will do that to you too.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's
Between him and his brother,
Sure.
That's valid.
Yeah.
would drive an old lady to drink.
So you were in Vietnam and for 14 months
No,
or over a year.
pretty close to a year. I think I was there, yeah. I come back to the States in July of 66. July of 66.
Okay, so when you get back to the States in 66, they're telling you you're, in so many words, you get there and you're going to be a drill instructor.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the original. The orders read, when I was leaving, the orders read Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And there's only one big unit in Fort Bragg, and that's the 82nd Airborne. I said, I don't get out of perfectly good airplanes. I'm
Hold on.
not.
While you say that real quick, the 82nd Airborne is a paratrooper. Parachutes.
And I'm telling I'm not involved in that. I wasn't a parachutist. I didn't have any.
Have you
They said,
ever?
"Well, just wait till, huh?
Did they ever make you?
No.
Okay.
So they sent me to Fort Jackson from Bragg. They sent me to Fort Jackson for 4.5 weeks, I think it was. To train as a drill instructor. And then they sent me back to Bragg as a drill instructor. And I spent until February of 67. Yeah. February of 67 when I got out. I also had a son at that time and a wife, which really made it even harder. But anyway, that's another part of the story. That's where Joe came from.
Shout out to Joe.
Joe. All right. So you were a drill instructor. You were out in 67. You did civilian life for a couple of years, but during your civilian life, you got to do the National Guard.
Yeah, I wanted to keep my rank, and plus, a bunch of us were talking all the time about, hey, let's join the National Guard, and a few of us did. And I did not want to be in helicopters again.
Sure.
And the idea is Barberton Armory was tanks. Those guys were tanks. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to drive a tank.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got my chance. But
So you got to be in one of the tanks?
I got to drive one.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And most of the time when we go on stuff, I would be driving usually a Jeep because I drove the CO most of the time. I can't remember all Brown, Tucker. I can't remember all the names.
So you were in charge of driving around the guys in charge.
The unit commander.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1970 comes.
Company commander, I should say.
Company commander.
Yes.
So 1970 comes around, and you're in the National Guard. I think you know where I'm going with this.
We were on a small trucker strike, not small, none of them.
In Michigan, correct?
No, New York.
Okay.
But they were into Ohio. We were on the Ohio line. We weren't going outside of Ohio with it, but they were trying to block exits and stuff in Ohio. But anyways, that ended, and we were in tents at Akron Airport. And we hadn't, we'd just come off this thing. And they bundled up everybody and sent us to Kent. Well, I don't know if any of us really knew what was going on or what was happening or whatever, but...
And for anybody listening who might not know, which would be weird if you didn't, in 1970, the famous Kent State shooting happened. There were protesters for the Vietnam War, and they called the National Guard in to subdue it because at that point they had burned down the ROTC building. And so the governor had called in the National Guard, and things got escalated. I'm not going to go into who was right, who was wrong of why that situation happened, but shots were fired. 4 kids were killed. 4 college kids were killed. And it was a tragedy on both sides, not just the student sides, but it was a tragedy on those men who were there that day. All right. So, you have that all happening at Kent State, and you were called upon, from the strike to Kent State, and you went there. You weren't just there as a National Guardsman, but you were also, like you said earlier in the episode, you were there as a student.
Yes.
So you were as a Kent State student.
I was going to Wadsworth, Kent State, had a satellite in Wadsworth, and I was going to Kent there. That's how I was. I don't know. I'm thinking back on. I don't remember the night we got in there or whatever. I know there was all kind of crap happening, but mostly where everybody wants to know, were you there when the shots were fired? I was there, but I was at Johnson Hall, which is a long, long way from the Commons.
And like you said before, you were driving the higher ups.
A captain, yes. And we were just overseeing a lot of the kids leaving, okay? That a lot of them were still leaving, and we wanted to be sure that, they got out safely and their parents come and got them or whatever. And we heard the shots.
Knew something had happened because you know what gunfire.
There shouldn't be shots, yeah.
Right.
Well, we didn't move.
What do you mean you didn't move?
We didn't move for a few minutes.
Like you
frozen,
and the generals or whoever you were captains all just kind of frozen, like, oh shit, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh shit, I know what that was.
We knew what it was. And what are you going to do? There's nothing we could do.
But what did you do after that?
Nothing.
No, I mean, like, did you drive them over to whatever, or did you guys go back towards the shots?
No, we never went back over there.
Okay.
We went, I forget where we did go. We went back and joined some of the other guys that were securing the buildings. And we never did until it was all over. We were done with it. I mean, our part, we didn't have any part in the real thing, so we broke up from there.
Yeah, all of these years I've heard the story, and cool thing, I don't know, maybe a cool thing, but like I was probably about 5 years ago, I was sitting watching a PBS documentary, and it was about the Kent State shooting. It was on, May 4th, and all of a sudden I look up and they're dead, walking across. It was they had cut from the hill that all that had happened down to where everybody else was, and there was him walking around the Jeep, and I'm like, oh shit. And it's so cool to hear all this for like so many years, and then to physically see that, right? Mm-hmm. It was crazy. So, all right. So after that, you had a lot of friends there, and as students and in the National Guard. That was rough for everybody, like I had said.
Yeah. So you weren't going there were you going there at the time?
I wasn't going to Kent. I was going to Kent State.
Right.
But I was in Wadsworth. They have a satellite there.
Okay.
You were a student per se.
Yeah, I was a Kent State student. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. So you were, like literally you were,
you were both
you
on
were
the same
working
day, just
there,
you happened to be
like
working.
you were.
I doubt that I would
Student
ever
loan.
run across any of the kids I went to school with in Wadsworth because they wouldn't have been out there.
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge. I don't
Sure.
know. But when we went back to school, nobody talked about it much. What can you do?
Yeah.
Like I said, Mike Pryor was accused of firing the first shot and stuff. Mike was a very, very personal friend of mine, and he's a great guy. And they were accusing him of firing the first shot. Well, he didn't, of course, but they accused him of it. And I told you that Did I tell you that Mike's wife
Yes.
was a nurse
For when Dawn was born.
when Dawn was born? Yeah. So that was kind of related to me. That was about it for there. I stayed in the National Guard for, I don't know how many years after that, a bunch of years after that. But
We actually were, you and Mom were married at the National Guard Armory in
Yes.
Barberton.
right. Yeah, that's. I don't know if I'd have stayed. I'd have been out by now. But
Sure.
when Dawn was born,
Dean's oldest sister.
Yes.
that what
He was saying
I was just
Dawn is my oldest
for
sister. He
giving
was telling
context. Yeah.
the listeners.
when Dawn was born, or before she was born, though we were at summer camp in Grayling, and I told them I got to go home, and they decided they weren't going to let me. It's the last time.
And then you knew then you were done.
Well, I was done. I got plenty of time to see Dawn born. That was it.
And after that, you spent time as security guard.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to speed up the timeline type deal because
How fast you gonna go, brother?
Well, once us kids are born, who gives a shit about us? So,
Yeah.
right.
40 years of disappointment.
Right.
Yeah.
40 years of disappointment. Who needs to relive that horror?
I wouldn't have traded it for nothing.
Well, I appreciate that you saying that about
He's
them.
not really talking about you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not about me. It's
Talk
them.
about all.
But the last thing I want to bring up, because the one fun story I did, you spent many time being a security guard because you had done.
I see a lot of videos of this now. Security guards. Did you ever catch something like shoplifting?
No.
That's a joke. Never mind. It's a.
But tell them my favorite story about being a security guard.
Oh.
Ma'am, I hate to. I'm gonna have to call the police. Don't call the police.
This guy's
Yeah,
going to
forget
kill you.
Never mind.
The,
Go ahead.
I was experienced in security, and plus that was my college subjects that I was taking. And so I went to work for a security company. We're not going to mention any names or
Right.
whatever. And they put me in a patrol car. And all I did was check on the guards wherever they might be. And I patrolled the accounts that we had that you had to go through and shake doors and stuff. And you had to take care of the guard posts. You know, you go in and check on them, make sure they were all right, make sure, you know. And which one do you want? One where it blew the tires?
No, I didn't know about blue ties. I'm talking about the guy who came up from behind you.
Yeah, there was a strike at this factory. And when you pull down into the driveway and down across the thing, there's a red light right there. I'm getting ready to pull in to check on the guard inside, and there was a strike going on anyway, you know. And I was sitting there waiting to pull down over the hill, and the guy opened the door on the other side, and I had the gun laid on the seat. And I go, close the goddamn door! And I'm sure he pissed himself. But hey, you know what? That was the one. The other one Dean was talking about is we worked security for a. I don't want to get into names and stuff.
For somebody. You worked security for a company.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying we had guards in a lot of places. Okay, back in those days. And we had one that was guarding a flight facility. And that was a pretty important job. And
Sure.
we had the best guys we had, you know, because they worked the gate. Nobody one drive in, one drive out. There's only one road. And I had left the place the day before. And I got a call from this colonel, and this colonel was I love this guy. He was like all the rough colonels you've ever seen, or sergeants even. And he called, and you gotta get down here. All right, I'm on my way. I get down there. Here Billy, the guard, was the salesman had gone in, and he drove back out. Okay, that's that one road. And evidently what happened is he forgot a briefcase or papers or something there. He tried to get back in, but he wasn't going to let him back in. Now, you know, you don't let anybody on that facility. So the guy cussed and pissed and moaned. Finally, he just started the car and drove, and Billy took out both his back tires with it.
You shot him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Then that's when the colonel was calling me. Want you down here. Don't you do nothing to that man. But, sir, he fired his weapon. I don't care. He was protecting the property, and that's what I pay you for. Nothing. Okay. He was, and I want him back on that gate. So, okay. And that's what happened, too. That was funny. There was a lot of funny situations. One of the guys was working in a nursing home. Older gentleman. And he sat in the the desk. And that's where he made his rounds from. And if anything come up, he was right there at the desk for it. I get a call from her. You got to come down here right now. Get in a car, drive to the nursing home, go in. Was going to go into her office. And, what the hell's that smell? There, the dude somehow got drunk, peed his pants, and hung his underwear and stuff on her heater. That room was just miserable. Now, see, you got to understand, I got to talk my way out of this. Yeah. Because she is pissed. And, oh, Lord, I talked as smooth as I could. We got to get another guard here. Okay. That's what we'll do.
I mean, these are way off the security guard videos that I've watched.
Right?
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, a whole different vibe.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so up until that point, you had kids, you know, me and my brothers and sisters come along, you know, you work for the city for, you know, 40 years, 30 years. 30 years. And then, you know, you retire from the city. So
get into the taxi service. Go ahead.
Into the taxi
Working
service.
for the man every night and day.
All right. So for this, gentlemen, do you guys have any question? I know you guys might have.
Oh shit! Are we up?
Right.
I wondered if you gave you guys a break of any kind.
I laid my notebook down about 2.5 hours ago. I did have some questions.
And I didn't answer them in all that time?
Maybe you did.
In fact.
Huh?
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So on a personal level, you and I have always had a very good relationship. I feel like I've always counted myself lucky to call you my father-in-law and family of my own. You've treated me very well, and I respect you, and I love you very dearly. Had a good relationship.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Really?
He was surprised.
Really?
He was surprised.
Okay, well that maybe throws us off. I was going to say, I think, perhaps, my question to you is, if you were to trade one of your 4 children in exchange for having me as your child,
Oh, that's a good
which
question.
one would it be, and why is the answer Dean?
You think it would be Dean?
I unequivocally think it would be Dean.
Shit just got real.
No, I do have a serious question for you, though. I won't make you answer that.
Okay, thank you.
My serious question. So we actually this ties in well because we've talked a lot tonight about like your whole life and like growing up and things like that. You know, working on the farm. So as far as like on this podcast, we talk a lot about like people we looked up to, people in pop culture, whether it be a character or an actor or whatever. Was there, and this is not tied necessarily to performers, or who would you cite in your life was the primary hero, if you will, or somebody that you aspired to be like? Like for me,
So this isn't
you know what I mean?
necessarily
Yeah,
a
like I
character.
mean,
It could be a
certainly
actual person.
As a little child, there were certain wrestlers or athletes or actors. In my real life, it was my opa, my grandfather, who you knew well.
So,
do you,
real quick.
either or. You could answer either or.
So you're saying young Don, growing up,
Yes.
looking up to somebody much older.
Sure.
So why is it Brian?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Who was it? Who was it that, whether it be as a child or in your young adult life, who is someone you look to draw inspiration, or somebody that you admired or wanted to be like when you grew up?
I guess Hope Dean, my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Hard worker,
Yep.
great farmer,
Great name.
good man. And there would be an athlete. I got the athlete that I admired most was Ali.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Dean knows that. Going back, I got some T-shirts and never mind. But I admired him because of his stand he took.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure.
And I admired him because of his talent.
Yeah.
And he was just a great guy.
Yeah.
That's about who it is.
The greatest ever.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's a good answer.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right. So my question.
You don't get any more questions, Brian. You're
You've been
Hold on. I got a real quick question.
You feel like a district attorney.
I know. Real quick question, because I know all of this. That's why I'm leading the interview.
Oh, okay.
But the quick question I want to know, which I don't think you've ever actually told me, was give me the best, because you were a drill instructor for a brief period. Give us the, we've all seen Full Metal Jacket. You maggot, you fuckstick, you fucked. You know what I mean? All of that. Give us the best mean thing you'd say to somebody, to a cadet or whatever you want to call
All
it.
right, I'll give you an example.
Yes.
You run like Dean Harvey.
Yeah. That's what I do. That's
Run
why
like
I
my
didn't
future son.
That's why I got sent home
maggot.
from Florida.
You run like my weak cum.
I don't know if I go that far.
Neither did that come, but it did.
Yeah. That one that got through, man.
What was the question again? What?
Give us a mean
Okay. I'll give you an example.
drill instructor thing.
I'll give you an
Yes.
example.
Could also be something you said to your kids, by the way. That
Which
qualifies.
I'm guessing I have heard this.
Yeah, he's already heard it.
Yes.
Cut his head off, shit out of his neck. I
Yep,
think
there you
it's
go.
like- Yeah,
Yep.
that was one of my favorites because
Cut your head off and shit down your neck. Yep. I heard that a lot
nice.
as a child.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That initiates action.
It does.
Yeah,
You get
But
on.
you don't want that.
No.
I mean, if it turns out to be a real
I've got-
threat, that's a
Yeah.
scary thing.
I
don't
got
want that.
caught once when I was a drill instructor because at that time there was a lot of South Carolina boys in that basic training unit.
Clan members.
No. Just crazy. Wild. Anyways, I just one that just kept pushing my buttons. And I got really tired of it. He flags back behind, doesn't pay attention, stuff like that. I thought one evening he rubbed me the wrong way one too many times. So I took him out to the dumpster, had him lean against the dumpster and yell, "I'm a busted hillbilly." Loud and frequently. Well, about that time, the staff guard goes by with the officer of the day in it. And he goes, "What are you doing there, boy?" I'm going, "I heard that hillbilly accent. I know I'm in shit." So I said, "Well, sir, I've just had a lot of problems. I almost got Article 15 over that."
I'm a busted hillbilly.
That's it, man. I was tired of
I
it.
think we found the name of the podcast. I'm a busted hillbilly.
I like that. That's good. I like that.
But I'd had the length of the rope was out with him. I don't know. Wild stuff.
Brian, you have a question? Or multiple, or?
No, everything was answered. I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to ask something that Dean didn't know about you. I think you've covered it. I don't know.
Well, that's a pretty good question. Is there everything I've asked you and everything you know about me and you and I, but is there something I don't know?
About me?
About you or your story?
Well, I'm not going to give you a lot of my sexual experiences if that's what you're
No,
after.
I watch those videos. I know
we
a
don't
lot
have
about
all
those.
night here.
Yeah, that's a long list.
Yeah.
Just get this fuck on.
Not a long list.
No, I think for me, not only just being your son, but there's been a lot of times, and again, I don't want to call myself out upon your other kids, my brother and sisters, but you and I you've told me a lot of these stories throughout the years, and there's been a lot of times where it's just been you and I, even as a kid, just sitting together and talking about this, and everything we've touched on tonight is just raising the surface comparative to what you and I have talked about.
Things, yeah.
Right. And there's some things we can't talk about on the podcast.
Well, yeah, and the fact that there was a lot of places a lot of things that I did that were not, wasn't really that great. Just living and surviving life itself and just moving on. Those were some of the highlights, not always highlights, but some of the things that I did was different than a lot of people would have done. Just day to day. That's the way you do it.
Okay.
Well, but
still doing that.
But what you've done, or what we've highlighted here, and like I said, what some of even the stuff that we couldn't even get to time wise, you've done just amazing things. Like I said, a Forrest Gump-esque style life without being I was about to say something real bad about Forrest Gump, but with
man's got millions of dollars.
He does. But
Forrest Gump, real person?
no, I was about to say. Never mind.
Shame on Tom Hanks.
He didn't need the money.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
he does it now.
But
Certainly
Dad
didn't for Pinocchio. Allie knows what we're talking about.
Yep, she's
Dad,
listening right now.
Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
Yes.
I hope. I mean, even if anybody here or you two have got to know a fraction of what I know, you guys, I would think, are a little bit better for it. I appreciate you doing this. I've been wanting to do this, like I said earlier, in many different ways. I'm lucky to have done it this way, and for you to be here
I
with
wasn't
us.
going to write a whole book of this yet.
Well, yeah, our hands get tired. Yeah, so
Really?
but honestly, thank you. I appreciate it so much, and I love
It
you.
was my pleasure. I just hope that I enjoyed it. I had to
I'm glad you
as did we.
rack my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
and Take me through some territories I hadn't been in a while.
Yeah. It's good. It's good for you.
Like thinking about Nick's nipples.
Huh?
Yeah, you know, it's never a bad time to take a stroll down that
It's
lane.
not a bad.
That's not a story I'm going to take home to your mother.
Well, you know.
Might get her a little too excited.
Well.
Well, I just will say I wanted to leave an hour ago. Yeah, that
So
would
did I.
have been impolite.
Not really. I didn't want to leave, but I do got to get up.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. No. I've really enjoyed this experience. I will say that I well, thank you for your service, certainly, and I could see further just based on this conversation alone. I mean, I don't know, but I would guess that you believe that serving your country is one thing, but being a good, respected father and grandfather, that's a whole other level of accomplishment in any man's life.
Right.
Right. So, and you definitely seem to have accomplished that. So,
Yep.
Thank you.
yes.
Well
Thank
said.
you very much.
Well said.
Thank you very much.
As much as I respect you for all the stories that I've heard this evening, the luxury that I've had to know you over the last 13 years and know who you are as a person and have you, like I said, accept me into your family and stuff has been truly just the pinnacle of who you are. So
Yep.
I appreciate that and love you to death. You know that. So thank you again for being here. We do appreciate
The
you coming
favorite
on here
son-in-law thing don't hurt either.
tonight. You know what? I mean, that status,
Yep.
never
That's
hurts.
high. That's high esteem, man.
Rob watches this. He gonna be upset.
That's right.
Hey,
Rob, I'm
That's
only
all right.
his
Well, this is-
favorite second son-in-law. There you go. There you go.
Yep.
That's fine.
yep. You can just
So-
drive him crazy.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
Yep. Yep.
But and same goes to be said for all the family out
Dad,
there.
thank you. I love you.
All the family
Love you, bud.
out there. If you're watching, we love you to death. This has been a nice thing. Brian and I were talking off camera. This is a nice thing for not only the listeners to listen to, learn something new, learn new things about an interesting life that someone has lived, but also for your family to have. For,
And I
for
appreciate you too
generations
for
going on forward. I mean, you guys can always listen back to this and listen to the incredible stories you've had, and this has been a really nice time.
No one else will listen to it, but that's okay.
That's
perfectly
right.
Great.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
fine. It's good.
Bump my brain a little bit.
Now get me out of this goddamn chair.
the whole time
gonna
just
take
smoke,
you off.
just smoke coming up from above his head from trying to think.
Well, it does. It takes me back to a lot of things that I don't usually see all in one evening.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, bumping my memory was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had one. But,
There you go.
It's good.
Well, that being said, speaking of racking your brain, do you have any social media accounts you'd like to plug right now for the viewers or listeners at home? Where can they find you on
Yes, no clue
Facebook,
anything
X?
of what you
At
get.
Boomer Don on Twitch.
Actually, let's just stick
Oh, can we start a Boomer Don account?
hashtag.
We have
and
to. Hashtag
TikTok.
Boomer Don.
Yep.
That's right. Yes.
Please let me know how that works.
Sure.
We will. We'll run it for you and everything. It's fine.
Yep.
We'll start your T-Public. It'll be fine. Anyway, so
Yeah, we can.
Thank you, boys.
absolutely. So, well, this has been another fantastical episode of Convincing Idiots, and if you're still listening, we appreciate you, just like we appreciate my lovely father-in-law, Boomer Don. And if you've not already done so, please feel free to find us on all your favorite social media accounts. You can find them on a link tree. Simply go to Google and type in Convincing Idiots, Linktree, LINKTREE, and you can find links to Facebook, Instagram, X, all of the things that we are on. Threads, we're on all of them. Our email account is also on there. You can also find all that information and so much more on our website. That's convincingidiots.wordpress.com. So, for this episode of Convincing Idiots featuring Boomer Don, I am Millennial Nick.
I'm Xennial Dean.
It's Larry Mulburn.
Gen X Brian.
Have we convinced you to come back and join us for another informative and insightful episode of Convincing Idiots. Are you convinced?
I'm convinced.
He's fucking convinced. Let's go.
Hey, Dean with Convincing Idiots. Brian and Nick here. Like and subscribe.